Back at Reliant Stadium, getting set for the Jaguars and the Texans. The two head coaches, Mike Mularkey, spent the past 4 seasons in Atlanta as the Falcons' offensive coordinator, trying to find a spark in this tough season for the Jaguars. On the other sideline, Gary Kubiak in his 7th season now leading the Texans. Grew up here in Houston, was a ball boy for the Houston Oilers under Bum Phillips, and you can tell he's excited to find out just how good this Texan team can be. The Texans won the toss. They'll have the football to start the game. Josh Scobie ready to boot it away. 22nd meeting between these AFC South rivals. The Texans lead the overall series 12-9. They've won the last 4. And we are underway here in Houston. Martin wrapped up at the 16-yard line. Matt Schaub brings the Texans out on offense. He comes in 51 yards shy of 20,000 passing yards for his career. A very different team than when he first arrived here in 07. A team that is much more balanced, one that he can manage rather than have to carry, which was the case Sunday night against the Bears when Matt's numbers weren't great, but the Texans still came away with a hard-fought win on the road. Schaub will throw on first down to the sideline. That's caught by Andre Johnson. Pickup of 7 yards. Derek Cox made the stop. The Texans' offensive line has been outstanding, especially that left side with Brown, Smith, and Myers. Myers, the first Texans offensive lineman named to the Pro Bowl. Backs and receivers, 2 of the big-time playmakers in the NFL, and Andre Johnson and Arian Foster. Owen Daniels returns after missing last week with a back injury. 2nd and 3, just underway here in Houston. Play action. Schaub with plenty of time. Underneath, that's caught by Andre Johnson. A big play and a first down. Dewan Landry made the stop after a gain of 22 yards.
When you're a team that runs the football so well, when you fake a handoff, the defense is really fooled, and this is exactly what happens. Watch as the defense completely sells out to stop the run to their left. Andre Johnson slips in all the way across the formation. Landry's caught chasing because he too bit on the run fake. When you run the football as well as Texas does, man, it really puts a lot of stress on the defense.
5-time Pro Bowler Justin Forsett has checked in. Again, they go to the air. Up deep, Andre Johnson all alone. Down to the 10. 45 yards to Andre Johnson.
And it was a play action fake again that gave Schaub the time, as Andre Johnson is going to come out inside release and just right down the hash marks. Stays wide. It's a great throw by Schaub to keep him away from Przinski, who's coming across as the safety. Because of the perfect throw, Andre Johnson knew he was going to be able to catch it before the hit came.
Schaub 3 for 3 for 74 yards, all 3 to Andre Johnson here in this opening drive. Foster fights his way down close to the 9. Paul Posluszny made the stop. Jacksonville on defense, their strength is up front. Alu has been playing well. The linebackers, Posluszny will call his name a lot today, the captain of the defense. And in the secondary, Ross and Cox are the corners. Przinski starts again this week for Dwight Lowery at free safety. Foster stays in the game on 2nd and goal. Walter in motion. Schaub to the end zone. Touchdown. We have a marker down. Keyshawn Johnson made the catch, but let's check the penalty. Keyshawn Martin, rather.
Now this flag came out after the pass was caught.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 31. So the play is a touchdown.
They call it on Aaron Ross, so the touchdown will stand.
And Gary Kubiak told us Keyshawn Martin had really started to emerge. You'll watch as Schaub comes back. Great protection as he just stands in the pocket. Takes a look at Kevin Walter coming across. He's covered. Martin coming in behind him right towards the post. Great throw and got wide open.
Keyshawn Martin, the 4th-round pick out of Michigan State, the rookie.
And that looked all too easy for the Houston Texans. An impressive drive, both running and play-action pass.
Shane Graham with the extra point. That would have made Keyshawn Johnson proud. And the Texans strike first here in Houston. Keyshawn Martin with the touchdown reception. Shop 4 of 4 on that drive for 83 yards. Marched him right down the field.
Interesting, the running game got 1 yard, but 3 of those passes were successful because of the run fake.
And that gets Matt Schaub over 20,000 yards passing for his career. Rashad Jennings will field this at the goal line. Nice return out to the 27. And let's take a look, Steve, at the touchdown.
Little bunch formation as Walter comes in. He's going to go behind Martin, and as Martin comes off, Cox is going to engage him, and Martin does a nice job, runs right at Cox and then breaks off late. The protection that Schaub had allowed Martin to really take his time on that route. There was all kinds of space because there was nobody else out there. Walter went across the formation. Schaub had plenty of time and patience to make the perfect throw.
Jaguars will start from their own 27-yard line. Gabbert, center of the field. That's going to be a first down. Justin Blackmon with the catch for 15 yards. Gabbert back starting today for Jacksonville after re-injuring his non-throwing shoulder last week against the Colts. Against Houston in week 2, he completed just 7 of 19 for 53 yards. The 10th overall pick in the draft last year. Now in his 2nd season as the starter for Jacksonville. Quick first down for the Jaguars. 1st and 10 from the 42. Gabbert gets rid of it. Another catch, and a marker is down across the field. Cecil Shorts with the reception.
Yeah, J.J. Watts was in the neutral zone just before the snap.
Clete Blakeman is our referee today.
Defense, number 99. That penalty's declined. Brings up yardage for 2nd down.
Call it on J.J. Watt, who's having a terrific season. Jags up front will have their hands full with the Houston pass rush. Eugene Monroe has quietly had a solid season. Backs and receivers still without Maurice Jones-Drew. Jennings started at running back. Cecil Shorts has been a bright spot. He comes in as the Jaguars' leading receiver. 2nd and 1, power formation. They keep it on the ground. Jennings. And that is going to be a Jacksonville first down. Danielle Manning made the stop. Houston team that has started to rely more and more on this great defense. Watt in only his 2nd season, a leading contender for Defensive Player of the Year at linebacker. They lost Brian Cushing but didn't miss a beat. Brady James has been a great addition coming over from Dallas, where he played for Wade Phillips. And in the secondary, Kareem Jackson has had a breakthrough season and become the player they thought he could be at cornerback. On first down, Jalen Parmalee stacked up at the line of scrimmage. J.J. Watt was the first to meet him.
Well, J.J. Watt, who has really emerged as becoming a star in this league. He's only been in the league 2 years, his 2nd year. For a guy who's been in the league that little, there are an awful lot of 99 jerseys in the stands. They are everywhere. This guy has really taken this town by storm and has played every bit as good as any veteran in the NFL.
10.5 sacks and 10 pass deflections coming in today. 2nd and 10 for Jacksonville. Their opening possession, they trail by 7. Gabbert got rid of it right before he was leveled. Danielle Manning.
Yeah, Gabbert with the play fake, he's got lots of time. You see the blitz coming right towards him. He's got to see that quicker. The Texans send just too many people. You see that? I mean, there's no missing it. That is a sack that Blaine Gabbert had to see. He just couldn't get rid of it. Took too long to get rid of the football, and it cost him a hit.
The ruling on the field is a fumble and recovery by Houston at the 45-yard line.
Well, that was interesting because that play went on and on. The players for the Houston Texans, a couple of them said they should really keep playing. And the officials finally blew it dead. We'll see. And that is what it is the empty hand. If Gabbert's hand is empty when his arm starts forward, I don't think so. I think that's an incomplete pass. I think it does come out. I think, wow, that's a different angle that makes it look maybe like it was a fumble.
I don't think the Houston defense was expecting that because they stayed on the field.
Well, and as did Jacksonville's offense. I think they were surprised. They were very surprised, both teams, at how that play was called. Nobody was aware that it had been called a fumble. They thought it was an incomplete pass.
Taking a look upstairs, timeout on the field.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Verizon, more 4G LTE coverage than all other networks combined. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Beautiful mid-November day outside here in Houston. They're checking Blaine Gabbert's right arm. And the review process continues, an automatic review because it's a turnover.
Yeah, that's not a decision by Mike Mularkey to challenge that. See how the call has gone against the Jaguars as you see Chad Henne warming up in case this does get given back to the Jaguars. Henne looks like he'll be the guy taking the snap.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble. The Houston recovery on the 37-yard line is dead at that point because the whistle had blown. So Houston's ball, 1st and 10 on the 37.
Well,
Please set the game clock to 9 minutes and 48 seconds. 9:48.
Well, Manning gets the hit, and his hands knock the ball out of Gabbert's hand. And Gabbert being attended to, when you're looking at a quarterback's throwing arm, it's never good. We'll have to keep a close eye on that. You can see the bruise just inside of his, right there. That's more than a shaving, Nick.
And we talked about how when things go wrong, they always seem to go wrong, and that's a perfect example. The Jaguars are seemingly moving the ball down the field in good position, and there's the turnover. Forsett out across the 40, close to the 42, a pickup of 5. Julian Stanford made the stop. Forsett has played well for the Texans in the absence of Ben Tate, backing up Arian Foster, averaging 4.7 yards a carry in his 5th year out of Cal.
Yeah, with all of teams that run the ball so well, Forsett, Tate, and Foster, all three quite different in their styles, but all three extremely effective inside that running game scheme.
Ben Tate inactive today. 2nd and 5, play action. Schaub underneath for Forsett and incomplete.
And that's a throw that Schaub would like to have back, and a catch that Forsett would like to try again.
Texans never faced a 3rd down on that impressive opening drive. When you talk with the Texans about this season, everyone kind of points to that Week 6 loss to Green Bay when they were embarrassed by Aaron Rodgers and the Packers as a wake-up call. In the 3 games since then, the Texans have allowed a total of just 1 touchdown in wins over Baltimore, Buffalo, and last week against the Bears. Empty backfield, 3rd and 5. Schaub up the sideline. Intended for Andre Johnson. It was fairly well covered by Derek Cox. The Texans will have to punt.
And this is a throw that Schaub will make to Andre Johnson on a double move there working against Cox. You throw this throw to Andre Johnson, to Calvin Johnson, to other great receivers. Other receivers who are covered like that, the quarterback just looks the other way. But when you've got a guy like Andre Johnson, you really do take a shot. That was well covered by Cox. But when you're covering a guy like that, you still have to finish it.
Aaron Ross is back deep to field the punt, which he does at the 20. And returns forward close to the 25-yard line. That was a 39-yard punt. And a 4-yard return, and we will see Chad Henne to run the Jacksonville offense. Gabbert has injured his left shoulder twice this season. He went down week 7 against the Raiders, and then last week against the Colts, he was sacked, re-injured the left shoulder, replaced by Chad Henne. That was 10 days ago. And a few moments ago, Danielle Manning with the hit and subsequent fumble. And Gabbert stays on the sidelines. Chad Henne came in last week, completed 10 of 16 for 121 yards and a touchdown. The throw on first down, the screen to Parmalee, and he's upended just past the 28-yard line, a gain of 5. And let's check in with JB in New York for an update here in Week 11.
Philly has won 3 straight against Washington, Coach, but...
Yeah, they intercept Nick Foles. This leads to an RG3 to Darrell Young, 6 yards out, and the Redskins jump on top of Philadelphia, 7-zip.
Back to Bill McAtee and Steve Tasker.
JB, Coach Cowher, thank you very much. 2nd and 5 for Jacksonville. Chad Henne is in a quarterback. Bobbled snap, gives it to Parmalee. Parmalee came in with only 8 carries for 18 yards. J.J. Watt made the stop after a gain of 1.
You think about Chad Henne, draft pick, 2nd-round draft pick by Miami in 2008. He started 31 of 36 games of his career there. And last year, interestingly enough, as you look at Blaine Gabbert nursing that injury, Henne's season was ended a year ago in Miami by his shoulder injury in his left shoulder. Signed with Jacksonville this last offseason.
The word on Gabbert is that he has a bruised elbow. His return is probable. 3rd and 4. Henne. Picked off. Well, nearly picked off. Quentin Demps came away with it, but it skipped off the ground. So that'll bring up 4th and 4.
Well, the ball comes out on time as it's got to against this Texan defense, but Demps breaks on this football, and it's obvious that this defensive backfield for Houston is not retreating. They are so confident in their front's ability to get pressure. They know the football's coming out very quickly, so they know it's going to be a short pass, and those safeties stay right where they're at and have a chance to get the football.
Brian Anger, the rookie out of Cal, has had a great season. Bit of a line drive kick fielded by Martin. 7:13 left to go in the first man job, and the Texans ready to go back to work after the 41-yard punt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by KFC. Come in today and taste why fresh is better.
Aerial coverage of Reliant Stadium on this beautiful day in Houston, provided by DirecTV. Steve, you played a few games in that little building on the left there.
It was the 8th wonder of the world when I was in it. Yeah, the Astrodome. And goes without saying, it wasn't the 8th wonder of the world because I was in it. It was.
Texans lead at 7-0. Foster, big hole left side. And close to a first down. Aaron Ross made the stop.
Yeah, this is not a stretch play. This is just a pretty straightforward run play off the left side. Going to follow his tight end. Well, fullback James Casey right up inside, just an isolation. A man on a man. Allen gets picked up by Casey, and Foster just breaks off of that block. Well executed. That's just a numbers game in that running play. Texans could match up number on number and have an extra guy with the ball in his hands.
They spotted at the 39, so 1st and 10 for Houston. Foster. And he'll be stopped for a loss, swarmed under by the Jacksonville defense led by C.J. Mosley.
Well, they did a nice job on that. This stretch play, this is the stretch play that you hear so much about. They're going to come right here. The Jacksonville Jaguars do a great job. He's going to get to the corner, and then out of nowhere, you see Ross come up and get the corner. They set the edge of the defense, they push him to the sidelines, and there's just nowhere to cut back. Great job by Jacksonville. That's how you stop the stretch play. But on the one time that you don't stop it in that way, he cuts it. It's a big game. But that was an excellent defensive play by all 7 of the front for Jacksonville.
2nd and 12 for Houston. Short drop for Schaub underneath, and that's caught. Owen Daniels, who missed last week with a back injury. 7th year out of Wisconsin. One of the fine tight ends in the National Football League. Came in with 37 catches for 478 yards.
We were talking about this game and how the Texans would play it. I mean, you know they're going to come out and do everything and with both guns blazing. But a guy like Daniels, who's been out with an injury, you think, well, he's got to be 100% healthy. Otherwise, in a game when you're playing a 1-8 team and you're 8-1, you might want to make sure he is 100% before you put him in there. There's no reason to take a chance with a key player in that instance.
3rd and 2. Schaub. Ball slips away. And Schaub able to fall on it. C.J. Mosley stripped it away. Another fine play by Mosley.
I think Schaub just loses handle. Oh, it gets swiped. That's a great play down inside.
So another nice defensive series from Jacksonville.
Mosley does get a hand on that and knock it away. Tremendous pressure. Great effort.
So Donnie Jones on to punt it for Houston. Aaron Ross is back deep. Good high punt. Ross has to retreat all the way back to the 13. Eludes the first couple of guys, but then brought down at the 18-yard line. A 54-yard punt and a 4-yard return, and the Jacksonville offense back on the field. Texans coming off a tough physical contest with the Bears, which they won 13-6. Jaguars have had 10 days off since their 8th loss in 9 games against the Colts. Crowd getting into it. On 1st down, Henne. In the seam. Justin Blackmon. Justin Blackmon, who came in with 26 catches for 250 yards and a touchdown here in his rookie season, and that is a huge play.
Henne had some time, but not much as they pick up the blitz, and Blackmon runs the great post route and then just keeps it alive by getting to the sideline. That's how you stop pressure. You make them not want to bring it because they've been burned by it. Great job by Jacksonville up front.
There have been times when Blackmon has just disappeared from this Jacksonville offense here in his rookie season, but that play was good for 63 yards. And Henne has to take a timeout. So the Jags are going to talk it over. 3:50 left to go in the first.
You know, you think about that play to Blackmon, a guy who is, you know, very high draft pick, as you said, and now, you know, trying to find himself, really trying to acclimate himself into this offense. Watch this as, Parmalee steps up and picks up the blitz and gives Henne just enough time to get rid of that football. Blackmon waits till the last minute to switch hands with the football and gets out of bounds.
Well, a big priority for Jacksonville in the offseason was at wide receiver to give Blaine Gabbert some help. They brought in LaRon Robinson, who had that spectacular year in Dallas. He was available. The draft has been a disaster at the wide receiver spot. Justin Blackmon was available at 5, so they moved up to get him, but the consensus seemed to be so far that the transition to Sundays has not been easy for Blackmon. 1st and 10. Caught by Shorts. Down inside the 15 to the 13-yard line. Kareem Jackson made the stop. Well, in honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. 2nd and 5 for Jacksonville. They're threatening after the big play to Blackmon. Henne to the end zone. Blackmon got it. Incomplete. He lost it.
He had it for a moment and didn't finish the process of catching it in the end zone.
The continuation. You have to hang on to the football when you hit the ground.
does a great job of squeezing it in the air. Watch as he comes down. Oh, and look at the job by Jackson to get his hand in and pull that ball loose. Reaches all the way around, gets a hand on it, and wrenches it free, and the ball comes free as they roll over. You got to come up with the football in the end zone if you're Blackman. After you roll over, after the play is over, you have to stand up and really just hand it to the official.
Oh, that is awfully close.
Second timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
They didn't challenge it. They just took a timeout.
Are you surprised they haven't challenged this?
No, this is exactly why the rule is in place. He goes down and you have to finish it in the end zone. You really literally have to get up and hand the football to somebody. And this comes down and he loses it on the tackle. You see the ball is he's still got it there as he rolls over, no question. Now listen, in the backyard when you and I are playing on Thanksgiving, I'll give you that catch, but in the NFL, it's a no-go.
First of all, I don't believe you. And second of all, no touchdown.
I've been a harder tackler.
Third and 5, no challenge. Empty backfield. 5 receivers in the pattern for Henne. Lost it. Mercedes Lewis, and that one will count. 13 yards, and Mercedes Lewis went up and got it.
Chad Henne's playing pretty well. 2 really tremendous throws at the end of this drive have helped Jacksonville have a chance to tie this up. Now Mercedes Lewis going up against those 2 defensive backs. That's Quinn. And that is a mismatch. Mercedes Lewis is enormous. And if you can put a throw like that into the end zone, there's not too many defensive backs that can go up and defend it.
Stovey ties things up at 7 with 2:56 left to go in the first. Mercedes Lewis in his 7th year at UCLA. Tremendous Pro Bowl season in 2010. That was his 3rd touchdown catch of the season. Impressive drive. The big play to Blackman, 4 plays overall, 81 yards. It took just a minute and a half, and we're tied at 7.
How good did Chad Henne look on that drive? I mean, Jacksonville fans are probably sitting back there in Florida thinking, where's he been?
Chad Henne led Jacksonville on their only touchdown drive of the night 10 days ago against Indianapolis over there. Talking to Blaine Gabbert.
They're not only thinking that in Jacksonville, they're thinking that in Miami, where he was a 2nd-round draft pick and didn't ever look that good.
Martin back deep. 5 yards deep in the end zone. And he is just hammered as he crosses the 15. Let's take another look, Steve, at the touchdown.
Well, Mercedes Lewis is going to end up working against Quinn and Manning. He's going to come out and give a little hesitation move right in front of Glover Quinn, and then slip to the end zone. The pass is high into the back of the end zone. And I'll tell you, that's just almost impossible. When the throw is perfect and you're as big as Lewis is against those 2 defensive backs who are neither 1 or 6 foot, it's going to be a touchdown. Great throw and great execution.
Starting to show the form and the production that led him to the Pro Bowl a couple of years ago. Schaub off the play action into the flat. That's James Casey, the fullback, and he's got a first down for Houston.
And that's another play action pass that just gives Schaub all kinds of time. He has plenty of time, and unlike a lot of teams who have to get with young quarterbacks, they're having to get rid of the ball on time. Jacksonville's a good example. The Texans, Matt Schaub can drop back and scan the entire field, left to right, long to short, and he just picks the open guy.
Schaub 6 of 8 for 104 yards and a touchdown. Foster tripped up at the 30-yard line. Otherwise, that would have been good for a bunch more. Russell Allen got him by a shoelace.
You talk about how this Houston team is different from others because they are 8-1. I mean, they're winning games every way you can imagine. They can run the football and throw it, but the fact that their quarterback can drop back on a deep drop and scan the field and has time to do it. That's something that a lot of teams in the NFL at this point of the season haven't been able to do.
Forsett is alone in the backfield on 2nd and 8. Right side, nice hole. Forsett. And finally pushed out of bounds at the 40.
What a great cut by Forsett. The hole is not going to be very big. It's going to come right through here as they stretch the play to the outside. Watch how small the crease is that he slips through right there, through the arm tackle of Alu all the way into the secondary before Przinski can even find him in the traffic. He's already taken the wrong angle, and it turns into a big play up the sidelines.
30 yards down to the 40 before DeJuan Landry pushed him out of bounds. And the Texans are back in business. Play action, Schaub, deep, incomplete. Andre Johnson had it but couldn't bring it in. Derek Cox had the coverage.
Derek Cox was hanging on for dear life, but once again, Matt Schaub puts the football out and pulls it away and has all the time in the world to wait for Andre Johnson to run through the defensive backfield one-on-one with Cox behind the safety. And they're that close to having another big play. Cox with his hand on the left hip of Andre Johnson gets a little bit of help from doing that, but not enough for the penalty.
Schaub. Foster. Pushed out of bounds at the 37-yard line by Cox.
Every good running team, you can say that, but it's not by chance. Arian Foster, Ben Tate, who's not in the lineup today, and Justin Forsett, who we saw earlier in this drive. These three guys are all high-quality running backs, none more high quality than Arian Foster. I mean, he is an elite running back. And when you've got an offensive line and a passing game that can complement all of those things, this defense, any defense they face, is just a handful to defend, and we're seeing it today.
That will take us to the end of the first quarter. We're tied at 7, and we'll return to Houston after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Back in Houston, ready to start quarter number 2. Texans facing a 3rd and 6 from the Jacksonville 36-yard line. Schaub from the gun. Incomplete. Intended for Owen Daniels and seemed to get away from Schaub a little bit. So that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, this is a throw I think Schaub would like to have back. It's one that you rarely see him miss on. Trying to fit it over the top of the linebackers and under the safeties, that's a hard throw to make. But that's one that, yeah, I think he's frustrated with himself. That was not a good throw.
Tommy Jones, who came in averaging almost 47 yards a punt from midfield, angles it. High end over end punt. Great catch made by Aaron Ross at the 18. It's an 18-yard punt, but inside the 20. And Chad Henne back to work when we return. Jacksonville 1st and 10 from their own 19. Tied at 7. Lewis, the motion man. Parmalee battles his way for 2 or 3 yards. We'll get the latest news, analysis, and predictions from Pat Kerwin, Pete Prisco, and other CBS Sports experts. Watch Pro Football 360 live weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern or on demand at cbssports.com/profootball360. Take a look at the rushing yards for Jacksonville, only 9. We're hoping Maurice Jones-Drew, who's missed the last 4 games, will be able to go next week against Tennessee. Parmalee with a nice run and a 1st down out across the 30 to the 31. Kareem Jackson made the stop after a gain of 9.
And I think if you're thinking about the Houston Texans and their ability to stop the run. This is not a complicated run scheme, although they do bring in the extra offensive lineman and the tight end. They go heavy up front and go tight formation. They've got extra people up front. The Texans are confident in their ability to stop the run. But right now, Jacksonville getting it done, and I think there's no question Chad Henne has put them on their heels a little bit with the passing game.
Plumlee stays in the backfield. On first down, Plumlee finds a hole, finds his way to the 33. Brady James made the stop, and once again, let's check in with the fellas in New York, JB and Coach Cowher, for an update.
They're prolific. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, after winning 4 straight games, Jermichael Finley 20 yards out, his first touchdown catch since week 1. Aaron Rodgers 26 touchdown pass in the day as they lead Detroit 7-3.
That capped an 11-play, 81-yard drive back to Bill and Steve.
Gentlemen, thank you. Second down for Jacksonville. We're tied at 7 here in Houston. A lot of people thought this might have been over by the national anthem, but Jacksonville has played well, and that's caught by Shorts. Cecil Shorts. And there's nothing between him and the end zone. Wow, what a stunning play. 67 yards from Henne to Cecil Shorts.
Well, good defense is about tackling. First guy to the football makes it go. And this is a missed tackle that turns into a touchdown, and an enormous touchdown for Jacksonville. There's no secret. It's just a quick 10-yard hitch against Jackson. Missed tackle there, loses his footing a little bit, and then Dobbins takes a bad angle and overruns it. Shorts just runs inside around him, and that's it. You don't get 3 chances in the NFL on a play like that. If the first 2 guys don't make the tackle, you're done.
And that stuns the crowd here in Houston. Scobie with the extra point, and the Jacksonville Jaguars looking for the upset here in Week 11. Take the lead on the touchdown pass from Chad Henne to Cecil Shorts.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's. T. Rowe Price, understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And by State Farm. Get to a better state with a discount double check.
Back in Houston, Jacksonville with 2 81-yard touchdown drives. Each featured a passing play of over 60 yards. 67 yards, Henne to Shorts, and the Jaguars have the lead, 14-7, 12:31 left to go in the half. Chad Henne in for Blaine Gabbert, 5 of 7 for 153 yards and the 2 touchdowns. Martin brings it out of the end zone. Martin up the sideline and brought down at midfield. Mike Harris might have saved the touchdown. 54 yards on the return by Keyshawn Martin.
That's a great blocking right up front, just right between where the wedge would normally be, slips up in between the blockers. Right there is where he's going to find the opening. Just runs through an arm tackle, and that's one of the things a returner in the NFL has to do. Nobody can bring you down with an arm or a hand because usually you're just running too fast, but that's a great job by the young receiver. One more way he can contribute.
Return into Jacksonville territory, so the Texans will start 1st and 10 from the Jags 48. Keep it on the ground at first down. Foster. Again, tough running inside. Down to the 46. Tyson Alu, who's been very active this year, made the stop.
Yeah, this is one of those run plays that's just like the run plays everybody else runs. It's not that stretch play. They just bring a guard around, and that's why this offense is a handful. They have plays like everybody else does, these little guard and tackle trap plays, but they also have that stretch play plus the play action that comes off of it. Such a versatile offense that the defense has to be so disciplined that they just can't do it for 4 quarters.
To the motion man, 2nd and 8. Play action, shot, Andre Johnson for a first down. Derek Cox made the tackle, but they'll move the chains after a gain of 15. And once again, let's go back to New York and check in with JB and Coach Cowell.
RG3's 10th passing touchdown.
Yeah, speaking of a little play action, how about this play action right here? His second touchdown pass of the day. This one to Ardrick Robinson from 49 yards out. 14-3, Washington up on Philly.
I think I embarrassed Bill McAtee when I call him the martial artist. The martial artist, Bill McAtee, Steve Tasker.
JB, thank you very much. First down for Houston, right side, Forsett. Justin Forsett, great second effort, and close to a first down.
Wow, he makes a move in the middle of this run that is spectacular. Watch as he gets this ball just past the line of scrimmage right there, just stops both feet and steps around Przinski, who's coming up to make the tackle, and he gets nothing but air. Watch. Przinski's going to get him right in the hole and just boop, and he gets blocked by Andre Johnson coming in. Everybody getting involved. You know, all the coaches for this Texan team says, man, they're really hard on each other. They all play very hard every play. That's an example. Andre Johnson blocking.
Forsett 3 carries for 44 yards. They go to him again. And that'll be a first down for Houston inside the 20. Russell Allen made the stop.
This is Andre Johnson on that last running play. We asked Kubiak, you know, is this a championship team? What's it like? He says all the guys are really hard on each other. All the championship teams I've been a part of, the players really hold each other accountable. And when you got a guy with 10,000 career yards receiving, knifing in for a block on a safety to spring the running back, you know everybody has bought in and feels they're a good team. Wow, that's a statement about how this offense is clicking.
Texans on the move. Foster back inside. Just a great move down close to the 10. Landry made the stop, and let's take a look at this week's edition of the Task Force.
As you saw in that play right there, this is another example of the stretch play. The running back will keep his depth from the line of scrimmage so that when this happens and somebody gets off their feet, he has plenty of time to find the hole. They're so far away from the blockers on the second level that they can see so much of the field from left to right. They can pick their spot, find the opening, and make good yards.
Foster finds some running room and down inside the 5, down to the 4, a gain of 5. Aaron Ross made the stop.
And that hurt him. Aaron Ross is not getting up from that.
On his feet, but gingerly.
He's going to block. He's going to cut all the way back to Owen Daniels, working there against Austin Lane, goes clear to the outside. And there Ross makes the tackle, and he did not get up. That hurt him.
Trainer's taking a look. Clock stops with 8:52 left in the half.
Well, it's one more thing that the Jacksonville Jaguars would not like to deal with, another injury to a key defender.
Already missing Rasheem Mathis.
And Dwight Lowry as well.
Secondary has been devastated without their top 2 linebackers as well.
Look as he starts to walk out, gets more brisk, and you'll see what happens. This is Terrence Knight comes in and lands on his foot. And that's what did it. It was friendly fire. That is what happens a lot to defenders.
So from the 4, first and goal. Foster. Russell Allen brought him down just short of the goal line.
You see how difficult it is to defend. Arian Foster, there's so much room, and really the whole field is up for grabs when in this stretch run play. You see how he stops, it's going to the right, comes way back to the left, and it looks like he's going to go wide, and then he cuts again and cuts twice. Defenders have to be so disciplined.
Foster, the AFC's leading rusher, coming in with 12 touchdowns this season to lead the NFL, 10 rushing and 2 receiving. Second and goal. Shaw will throw it to the end zone. James Casey.
This once again, an example of the play action. Kyle Bosworth gets caught in no man's land. He doesn't know whether to come up and defend the run, and when he does, he's out of position to cover. Casey right there. He gets up, thinks the ball is coming to the outside, and has to retreat and go back and get back into coverage. It's too late.
Texans able to take advantage of the short field after Keyshawn Martin's 54-yard kickoff return. Shane Graham on to tie things up. He boots it through. And we're even at 14 with 7:52 left to go in the half. James Casey, who played his college ball down the road at Rice with the 1-yard touchdown reception. Great athlete. He played all over the field for the Owls. He played defensive end, quarterback, running back. Drafted in baseball. Keyshawn Martin provided the boost, the 54-yard kickoff return. We're tied at 14.
You think about how this game has turned out to be such a close one, and Jacksonville on the other side of the field, like we said in the open, if they can get out of their own way and not turn the football over, they can play with the Houston Texans, and they're proving it.
Very different than their encounter in week 2, which was dominated by the Texans. Jennings on one hop. Finds a hole and takes it out across the 30. That's where Chad Henne and the Jaguars will take over. Henne has been a shot in the arm for the Jacksonville offense since Blaine Gabbert went down. 5 of 7 for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's Mercedes Lewis, and then the big play to Cecil Shorts.
Yeah, he's had a couple of big plays that have really set the Jaguars up to stay in this game. That one, of course, the second touchdown that gave them the lead here in the first half, only to be answered by Houston, but Henne getting it done.
Henne to throw again underneath to Parmalee, who's dropped immediately by Daryl Sharpton, who was activated yesterday. They thought he'd be ready by training camp but suffered a hip injury. Started practicing a couple of weeks ago. They need him back because Tim Dobbins is banged up, and of course Brian Cushing is out for the season.
Yeah, it's amazing that you think about this Texans defense, as good as it has played, that they're willing to put a guy back in, hasn't played in almost a year. That's a testament to what he can get done, but it's also injuries as this season wears on. They need all hands on deck.
2nd and 9. Parmalee finds some running room and a first down for Jacksonville.
One of the things that's happening here, and the reason Jacksonville's having some success running the football, is they've gone heavy. They've got tight ends, big extra offensive tackle, and the 3 big guys outside the regular offensive linemen and the fullback ahead. They forced the Texans to put the defenders on the field that Jacksonville wants on. The Texans having to go base package. They can't put extra defensive backs on the field and shut down the passing game. They're forcing them to keep their big guys on the field and hurting them with play action.
After the 12-yard gain, 1st and 10 from the 44, they go back to the ground. Parmalee fights his way for a couple.
Yeah, I spoke to Wade Phillips on the phone, defensive coordinator, right there. This is the guy right here. He's pretty confident in his defensive group, and he should be. He's pretty confident in their ability to stop the run, but I think he anticipated being able to play the defenders he wanted to play. The fact that Jacksonville is starting to dictate with their personnel, I think, is catching the Texans a little bit off guard.
Jacksonville already with 212 total yards. Facing 2nd and 8. Henne gets rid of it. Lewis all alone. Mercedes Lewis, who's having a big day, down inside the 30. A 26-yard gain.
This Mercedes Lewis up here goes up through the middle of the linebackers, then crosses underneath the cleared out area. Was cleared out. Now Henne standing in the pocket, takes a throw down. I believe that's Barwin who gets him on the ground. But Lewis coming up big for the Jaguars.
And Jacksonville on the move once again against this fine Houston defense. Parmalee. And again, finds some running room down inside the 25 to the 24. Brooks Reed made the stop, a gain of 4.
That's an effective run. I think the fans here in Houston, as well as the players, are a little bit shocked at how effective Jacksonville is. And you talk about what's happened to this team. If they can hang on to the football, not turn it over, and mind their P's and Q's, they do have some talent up front.
Rashad Jennings has checked in the backfield on 2nd and 6. And he is met in the backfield. That was Del Sharpton. Welcome back.
Back in the lineup for the first time in a long time. He's been battling knee, quadricep, and hip injuries, as you said, and just gets there so fast. Brad Meester tries to get over, number 63, tries to get over and cut him off. He just can't get there. Timed it perfectly and ended up right in the face of Parmalee.
Sharpton's been out for a year after tearing a quad muscle against Jacksonville in October of last year. So that brings up 3rd and long for the Jaguars. Trying to keep this drive going. Henne from the gun. Flushed from the pocket. And he'll have to run out of bounds. And that'll be short of the first down by a wide margin.
That's not altogether bad play for Jacksonville. Watch the coverage as you've got 5 defensive backs all over the field. All out, everybody drops back into coverage, including Barwin, who drops back and is going to end up running him out of bounds. All kinds of coverage played. 3rd and long, the Texans did not believe they were going to run it, put a light package and a secondary coverage in there, and dared him to throw it. Henne did the right thing. Get what you can get, go for the 3.
Josh Scobie had a streak of 20 straight field goals come to an end last week, but that is good from 43 yards. Last week was his first missed field goal since last Thanksgiving, but Scobie gives the Jags the lead.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by 1&1 My Website, where creating a business website is easy. And by Windows 8.
A 43-yard field goal from Josh Scobie gives Jacksonville a 3-point lead with 2:53 left to go in the half. And this has been a much more competitive game than people thought.
Houston with 3 timeouts left. Plenty of time to go down the football field and answer that field goal by Jacksonville.
Sean Martin, who had a 54-yard return the last time he had an opportunity. This time he'll take a knee 5 yards deep in the end zone. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 11. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Chad Henne has been marvelous since Blaine Gabbert was injured.
Well, they're in the midst of the start of a 7-game season, and it'll be interesting to see how it finishes.
That's what Mike Mularkey told his guys. We've had a lot of struggles, but now it's down to 7 games. Shot, center of the field, Andre Johnson, who was wide open. And a big play for the Texans. Chris Harris made the stop after a gain of 23.
Once again, lots of time for Schaub in a bunch formation. All 3 of those receivers explode out. It's up to the defensive backs to sort through it. They're in a zone coverage, so every defender's guarding an area of the field. Andre Johnson runs to a vacant spot right where Schaub expected him.
His 10th year out of Miami, has spent his entire career here in Houston. Schaub toward the sideline. Owen Daniels pushed out of bounds, just short of midfield. 48-yard line, that was good for 5.
Now this will take us to the 2-minute warning. It looks like the Texans have no interest in getting a play off.
Texans with all 3 of their timeouts remaining, but it's Jacksonville with the lead, 17-14. Texans trailing by 3, 2 minutes to go in the first half. We're approaching 500 yards of offense in this half combined. A bit surprising, 457 total to be exact. 2nd and 4 for Houston underneath. Caught by Daniels. First down inside the 45 down to the 44. Pusluzny and Allen combined to make the stop.
Now they're going to save their timeouts and go no huddle, hurry up right here, trying to get down closer.
They run the football to Foster, who makes a nice jump cut move and has another first down to the 31. Pusluzny made the stop, and now they take a timeout after a gain of 13 yards. 17-14, Jacksonville, Houston on the move. Half. Matt Schaub, 12 of 16 for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Houston with 13 first downs on just 30 plays. 1st and 10. Schaub lost it up the sideline. Intended for Kevin Walter, who was fighting Derek Cox all the way. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Stops the clock with 1:28 left to go in the half. Kevin Walter, 23 catches for 337 yards and a couple of touchdowns coming into week 11 in his 10th year out of Eastern Michigan.
One thing about having the timeouts here at the end of the first half, it allows them to still hand the football off so that it keeps the defense of the Jacksonville Jaguars honest in the run and the pass.
Schaub to Andre Johnson, trying to get out of bounds. And he does. Stopped by Derek Cox. 1:22 left to go in the half.
And this is Schaub doing the right thing. Goes out late to his left. Looks down the middle of the field, knowing the full well all the time he's going to throw it out to the wide side of Andre Johnson. The great veteran quarterback always looks off the defense, even in a quick throw if he can do it.
Good numbers for Andre Johnson, 6 catches for 119 yards, but now facing 3rd and 3, empty backfield. Schaub, incomplete. Walter was pummeled as he tried to bring in the football.
And that's going to force the field goal attempt. This was almost, as Walter comes out, almost a defenseless receiver. Brzezinski kind of leads with his head. No flag, but in this day and age, he makes helmet-to-helmet contact. And Jacksonville, I think, gets away with one there, although I don't have a problem with that hit. I mean, that's football is football. I myself am kind of an old-school guy, but that's, I think, risky in this day and age. That looks to me like a high hit to a defenseless receiver.
And Houston, no 3rd down conversions. They're 0 for 4 today. So Shane Graham on to try the field goal. And he's got it. 16 of 18 in field goal tries this season, the 4th most accurate kicker in NFL history. And once again, we're tied.
I think Mike Mularkey's got to be very, very pleased that his defense rose up and held Houston to a field goal try, even though it was successful. Enough time to make a little something if they want to try it.
And don't forget, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 11. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. So a very competitive football game. Texans with the best record in the AFC at 8-1. Jacksonville has struggled all season long, coming in at 1-8.
Well, it's got all the makings of a trap game. 1-8, 8-1, and Houston has an enormous game Thursday on Thanksgiving.
Texans defense dominated Jacksonville in week 2. Jacksonville set a franchise low for total yards with 117, the 3rd fewest passing yards in franchise history with 52, and their time of possession was less than 17 minutes. Also a franchise low.
And that all goes into the equation of this game, getting ready for that. I mean, Wade Phillips has got to think, wow, this is a different team than we faced back then.
Shot Jennings is back deep. Line drive kick fielded at the 1. Jennings brings it out across the 20, close to the 24. Well, help the victims of disasters like Superstorm Sandy. Text Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. CBS cares.
Well, with 1:03 to go and one timeout for Jacksonville, and Chad Henne, the backup quarterback, they're going to go spread, and it looks like they're going to make an effort to get back down and get their own field goal attempt.
One timeout left. Henne try to set up the screen to Parmalee. That goes nowhere. Grady James anticipating the play, and that will result in a loss of 3 yards.
Yep. It's kind of an all or nothing for Jacksonville. They've got to make a chunk of yardage a couple of times with the timeout to get an opportunity.
Henne goes underneath, and that's incomplete. Michael Spurlock was the intended receiver. The nickel back, McCain had the coverage.
Now you got to think about, for the Houston Texans, hey, let's get a stop here, stop the clock with one of our timeouts. We'll hit our own big play, maybe come back and get another chance. I mean, this game is all of a sudden turning as fast as a top.
3rd and 13, 34 seconds.
If they don't get this, if they don't get this first down, look for Houston to take a quick timeout.
Parmalee.
There they took it. There's the timeout.
That'll bring up 4th down. Good penetration by J.J. Watt.
And I don't have a problem with that from Jacksonville either. Force them to use the timeout on a 3rd and 14. I mean, this is a team, as we said in the open, every bad thing that's happened to them has turned into a touchdown. They don't want to try and drop back, pick up a 3rd and 14 in their own end inside the last minute of the first half, give up a bad play and end up having it costing them points. So they took the conservative route, handed it off, and it's not the worst thing in the world to punt the football away. And if Houston can make something inside of 30 seconds with a timeout, okay, but that's going to be more difficult to do than giving them one.
Animated conversation there between Mike Mularkey and Cecil Shorts on the Jacksonville sideline. Keyshawn Martin is back deep. The Texans could have pretty good field position after this punt, although Brian Anger, the rookie out of Cal, continues to have an outstanding start to his NFL career, averaging 48 yards a punt.
Yeah, Houston may go for the block here. If they don't, hey, maybe time for a funky punt return, reverse, throwbacks kind of thing. Went for the block.
Angled to the sideline.
That's a great punt. An outstanding punt. You can't give up a touchdown when the ball lands out of bounds. And he got good distance, got the football off in the face of a heated rush. That's why this young punter is going to be in this league for a long, long time.
A 44-yard punt, and they're going to spot it at the Houston 35-yard line.
There's a lot going on in the last 2 minutes of this half. As Houston went down, forced to take the field goal, got the stop, and now timeouts and field position are going to continue to be an issue right until the very last tick of this clock.
Texans took their opening possession right down the field. An impressive drive, but since then the Jacksonville defense has played pretty well. Andre Johnson. And a quick timeout. Clock stops with 17 seconds left in the half. That was good for 13 yards.
Now with 17 seconds, you can throw a deep crossing route, still get up and down it if it's inside field goal range. But even so, I mean, if it's going to be the last play of the half, it's a flip of the coin. Do you try the Hail Mary to go for the end zone, or do you try a 60-yard field goal, which is at best a coin flip? But either way, I think you got to go for some type of points, even if it's an outrageous field goal. If you don't want to do that, throw for the Hail Mary and see if you can make it happen.
Mike Mularkey's Jacksonville team has responded the way he had hoped. Battling the Houston Texans here in the opening half, tied at 17. Foster in the backfield, Schaub steps up, fires, incomplete at the feet of Andre Johnson.
He had him, it was underthrown. He underthrew it. As you see this ball come out, Andre Johnson's going to pivot, move to the sideline, and the ball is at his feet. He can't get out there and get down far enough. Just a little underthrown.
So 12 seconds left in the half. Texans out of timeouts.
And I think we have our answer as to the Hail Mary or impossible field goals.
Jacksonville trying to win for the first time here at Reliance Stadium since 2009. Schaub, it's away from pressure. We have a flag down, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Foster.
6 seconds to go. This is going to be a hold.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Defense, number 94.
Oh, wow.
That leads 15 yards, automatic first down.
Well, we have talked about the mistakes that Jacksonville makes, and we've talked about fumbles and turnovers, but penalties are also an enormous part of that. Jeremy Mincey grabbing the face mask right here. Right there, he got just a piece of it. I don't know if I agree with that call. That was a quarterback ducking down to plant his foot to get out of there and running right into the guy's hand. I don't like that call at all.
This game has been surprisingly penalty-free. Jacksonville had over 100 yards in penalties 10 days ago against Indianapolis. So with 6 seconds left, Schaub over the sideline, and Walter gets out of bounds, and they're going to be able to try a field goal.
Yeah, it'll be about a 49, perhaps a 50-yard field goal from this point, and that both teams having the football in the last 2 minutes. Both teams having the football twice in the last 2.5 minutes of this football half, and it's led to 2 field goals for Houston.
So this will be a 50-yard attempt for Shane Graham to give the Texans the lead heading into the locker room. And it bangs the upright, no good. And that's how a very entertaining first half will end.
He had the distance, but it curved to the outside. As it goes up, you'll see how it moves from right to left, turning, and doinked right off the upright. And the rule is, if that ball would have gone over the top of the upright, that would have been good. But from 50 yards out, that is a big kick.
Mike Mularkey has seen his Jacksonville Jaguars fight hard here in the first half. Tied at 17. And we'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Back in Houston, ready to start the second half, tied at 17. Bill McAtee and Steve Tasker, how surprised are you at what we saw in the opening half?
Well, I think the only surprising thing for people who've been watching the Jacksonville Jaguars is how mistake-free they've played, and that proves to you that they've got some talent. They can stay with these good teams in the NFL and play good football. They did it in that first half. They were mistake-free and had 2 leads, 14-7 and 17-14. They've answered the Houston Texans, and that's tough to do on the road.
How about the play of this man, Chad Henne, coming in for Blaine Gabbert?
That's been a huge surprise. He's always had the big arm, but his ability to work the offense, and even when he first got in there in that first series, he seemed to be managing the calls at the line extremely well and got him a couple of big plays, one to Cecil Shorts and one to Blackman.
67-yard touchdown pass to Cecil Shorts, as well as the big play to Justin Blackman. Jaguars will have the ball to start the third quarter. Jennings takes a knee. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half.
Well, it looked pretty hard early for the Jaguars. I mean, it looked all too easy for that first touchdown on the Texans, but then Gabbert goes down. It looked like it was going to get bad in a hurry. But Chad Henne comes in, finds Lewis for the touchdown, finds the big play to Shorts for the touchdown, and then the play action to Schaub, and the Texans, they answer. It's been back and forth. This is the difference. It's a tie ball game because that kick hits the upright.
The 8-1 Texans tied with the 1-8 Jacksonville Jaguars. Play action to start. Henny going up top to Blackman. And they go right back to work. Justin Blackman. Kareem Jackson made the stop after a gain of 39 yards.
Starts out tight to the line of scrimmage, widens his release, and then breaks back to the inside on the post. Jackson doing a nice job trying to stay with him, but with all the time that Henny had in single coverage with no safety, that's impossible to stop. And Jacksonville saw something in the first half. They jumped right on top of it in the second.
Parmalee. Justin Blackman finally having that breakthrough game that people have been waiting for. Let's take another look at the play.
Look, the safeties disappear, and it leaves Jackson all by himself with the whole middle of the field to defend. Mercedes Lewis draws the safety up, and there's no one behind him.
Blackman 3 catches for 117 yards. Opening possession of the second half. Jennings tries to get back to the line of scrimmage. Brooks Reed made the stop.
Yeah, that play was made by Watt down on the inside, forcing the running back, almost made the tackle himself, but J.J. Watt continuing to play well in the run game. You see there with brace on his elbow, a little bit hampered by that, but he has got a motor that is unmatched. He's tall and long and has made a difference.
One of the things they'll do with J.J. Watt is to move him around, put him in different places on the field, try to get him in situations where he can make plays, and he makes a lot of them. 3rd and 10 for Jacksonville, trying to keep this drive going. Henny, Blackman. Right at the sticks, and it looks like he's got it by a yard.
Well, this is the kind of offense that Jacksonville has wanted all season. Blackman on the inside slot works out underneath Cecil Shorts, who goes deep, catches the out route, turns up the field for the first down, and a snap throw with great velocity by Henny.
He spotted at the 30 after a gain of 11. 1st and 10 for Jacksonville. They were 0 for 9 at third down conversions when these teams played in week 2. Parmalee knifes his way down close to the 27. Sharpton made the stop, a gain of 3.
And you can already tell early in this second half, they went in, the defense of the Houston Texans, and talked to each other. That play right there had a little attitude in it. They wanted a piece of Parmalee. They don't like getting run on. They're a proud group, and this Jacksonville Jaguars have surprised them, and I think embarrassed them a little bit. They didn't give, I don't think, Jacksonville an opportunity, or at least a chance in the pregame warm-up to work up to this game to think that they're going to run on them, and I think it surprised them.
Blackman was the motion man. They keep it on the ground at 2nd and 8. Parmalee fighting for some tough yards down to the 22.
And up till now, it's been the Jacksonville running game that has been the difference, allowing them to force the Texans to honor that run. Play action passes led to 3 big plays, one on this opening drive of the second half. And as long as Parmalee can threaten them with that, they're not going to be able to defend the pass as well as they'd like.
3rd and 2. Henny. Incomplete. Spurlock. Ball was jolted loose by Jonathan Joseph, who has been tremendous for the Texans since coming over from Cincinnati before last season.
Yeah, Spurlock needed to catch that. He got to turn his body and catch it with both hands. He kind of gets his head around, but the ball's in on him before he's ready for it, and it's behind him. If Henny could have put that a little bit more accurately to the outside, it would have been a completion, but Spurlock has got to make that catch.
So we'll see Josh Scobie trying to try a 40-yard field goal. Perfect. And so the Jacksonville Jaguars regain the lead. 11:01 left to go in the third, 20-17. 8 plays on the drive. It ends with the 40-yard field goal by Josh Scobie. And we get the word that Blaine Gabbert has been downgraded his return. It started as probable, then it was questionable, now it's doubtful.
Well, the better Chad Henne plays, the worse Blaine Gabbert's injury becomes.
By the fourth quarter, he'll be on IR. This keeps up. Martin from the end zone. Big hole up the middle. Martin stumbles across the 30.
Oh, he tripped. He had a touchdown. He had full head of steam with wide open spaces. He gets up through the first point of attack, hits it perfectly timed, and right here, it's going to be a foot race, and he falls down.
And it was Scobie who made him try to change direction, and that's where he lost his footing.
Yeah, the 30-yard line jumped up and grabbed his foot, and that was it.
So Houston goes to work from their own 33. They trail by 3. Foster, stretch run, trying to get to the edge and out of bounds. Tuesday on CBS, see why America has made Vegas TV's #1 news show this season. Vegas, Tuesday, only CBS.
Once again, the Texans come right out after halftime and run that stretch play. Tyson Alualu and Austin Lane did a great job of pushing it all the way to the sidelines for a 1-yard gain. It's interesting, these first drives after halftime, after the coaches have had a chance to look at the other team, these first drives are telling about what they saw and what they want to do in the second half.
Play action. Schaub under pressure and sacked. Tried to get away, but couldn't from C.J. Mosley. Mosley is the veteran who's come in here and played well for Jacksonville in his 8th year out of Missouri. Spent time with Minnesota, the Jets, and Cleveland, and that resulted in a loss of 8 yards.
He runs a stunt to the outside with Alualu, who comes on the inside, and then, you know, Schaub didn't have time to look down the football field and find an open guy as he avoided the rush coming from his right-hand side.
Texans had 15 first downs in the first half, but did not convert on 3rd down. They run the delay to Foster. Bottled up, trying to find some running room. Schaub thought about blocking Kozlowski. And look at this, the ball is loose. And Jacksonville says they have it, and they do. Wow. John Chick came up with the football.
Well, this play turned into an atrocity for the Houston Texans as Arian Foster got hemmed in, turned back around to the left. Kozlowski grabs him, and the ball just comes loose. Great job punching it out by Kozlowski. And I tell you what, I think Derek Cox deliberately fumbles this forward after he catches it. I think he just tosses it forward. I like the play, and it turns out right, but it's a risk. And of course, John Chick comes up with it, punched out right there by Kozlowski. Cox comes up with it, watches, he jumps over Kozlowski, and it comes loose. Now, look, no, it wasn't deliberate. But no question, Chick comes up with it, and he's inbounds. They're going to look at this. The only question is he inbounds or touching any part of the white when he gains control? If it is, it's not a turnover.
Timeout on the field here in Houston.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Back at Reliance Stadium, and let's take another look. They're still reviewing the play upstairs.
Well, Owen Daniels for the Texans comes in, and Chick get it. Now the ball is there under his chin, and I think there he gains control of it, but is he on the line at that point? Now if you look at that angle and then look at this one, where does he gain control? I don't know that you can say that he doesn't have it. You know, see there, the ball is under his chin. There he's got it, and then he gets onto the white line. I think this is going to stand up as a turnover.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The result of the play will be 1st and 10, Jacksonville.
Pete Blakeman confirming the turnover, and a big opportunity for Jacksonville, already leading by 3.
That play was bad from the very start. No question Jacksonville has figured out that stretch play to their defensive left side, and they are really making the Texans pay for it. And Arian Foster, trying to make something out of nothing, fumbled the football away.
And they have bottled up Foster today, only 41 yards. 1st and 10. Keep it on the ground to Parmalee, wrapped up by Brady James at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think at this point, the way this game has gone, the Texans are going to have to really convince Jacksonville that they can stop the run. They have not done it thus far. Jacksonville continuing, because this game is close and they have a 3-point lead, they can run the football as often as they want, and the Texans are going to have to prove to them it's a detriment to them to keep handing it off. Until this point, it has not been.
2nd and 10. Henne from the gun. Underneath. Spurlock. Stopped just short of the goal line.
And this is going to be close to a 1st down. Spurlock inside. Pivots, comes back into the hash. And Henne, the one thing about him that we've always seen, both when he was in Miami and now here, he has got a very strong arm, and today it's been extremely accurate as well.
So they give him just short of the 1, but enough for a 1st down. So 1st and goal for Jacksonville, and Henne continues to put up outstanding numbers. Parmalee.
Oh, he didn't get in. He ended up inside the end zone, but they're saying that he was down before the ball crossed. He ended up with his head and neck and shoulders over the goal line with the ball, but he was down before he got in there. Watch his knee and his shoulder. Yeah, there, it's just short. Right there's the ball, and there's his knee. Excellent call by the official. Good spot.
High formation, Parmalee the deep back. They give it to him. Parmalee. Brady James with a big hit. And Jacksonville denied the end zone.
And as bad as it looked a moment ago for the Houston Texans, this could be an enormous boost in confidence if they can get a goal line stand here. Brady James stoning Parmalee short of the goal line. Tremendous job by the linebacker. That's how it's done.
James, the former Cowboy, played for Wade Phillips in Dallas, Houston's leading tackler. So 3rd and goal. Play action. Henne, touchdown. Mercedes Lewis all alone.
Great ball fake, completely blown coverage by the Texans. And after all the great effort they put in to that goal line stand, they blow it by leaving Mercedes Lewis uncovered.
And that is the 3rd touchdown pass for Chad Henne. 2nd touchdown reception for Mercedes Lewis.
Sharpton is in coverage on Lewis and gets caught after being out for so long. Darryl Sharpton not up to snuff on his responsibility, got caught looking in the backfield.
Scobie with the extra point. And we've got a stunner here in Houston. The 1-8 Jags up on the 8-1 Texans. And it has been a frustrating day for defensive coordinator Wade Phillips. Jacksonville able to convert the turnover into 6 points. Took 5 plays. Mercedes Lewis with his 2nd touchdown reception of the afternoon. And the Texans are behind 27-17 with 6:52 left to go in the 3rd. Martin brings it out from 4 yards deep. Brought down just across the 25-yard line. So Matt Schaub and company with work to do, down by 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. We're so confident in our low prices, we guarantee them. And by Acura. Acura Advance.
Aerial coverage of Reliant Stadium on a beautiful fall day in Houston is provided by DirecTV. As we're back inside, the Texans take over. 1st and 10. Just past their own 20-yard line. Forsett. Justin Forsett out across the 30 to the 31. Gain of 5.
Yeah, there's no reason here to lose your cool if you're Houston. You've still got that running game. You've still got, you're trailing by 10, no question, but there's a lot of football to be played, and you can still hand the football off. Do not change your game plan.
No huddle. Texans. Schaub underneath to Garrett Graham, the tight end, and he's got a first down. The Texans' first drive in the second half went 22 yards in the wrong direction, culminating with a fumble that led to the touchdown.
And for the Texans, they're going to kind of go muddle huddle, not really huddle up, but kind of huddle up. Just raise the tempo a hair.
Schaub in the seam and wide open. Garrett Graham with a big play down to the Jacksonville 30.
And the Texans have made a point of of knowing themselves improving, particularly in that win last week. They've got to find different ways to win. This is one of those situations where they're going to be 10 points down in the second half of a football game and have to do some special things and some consistent things to get back in it.
They're spotted at the 31, 1st and 10. The Texans are on the move. Left side, Foster able to keep his feet and pushed out of bounds near the 24 by Dewan Landry after a gain of 7.
Once again, that running game, it just doesn't go away. You can do a really good job if you're Jacksonville. You can continue to stretch that, shut that stretch play down, but you still don't get a break. They'll hand that football off in any situation, and you've got to be right every time or it turns into a big play.
Bunch receivers to the right side. They run the toss to Forsett. Able to get the edge and fights for a first down. Alu made the tackle.
It's a great block on the outside by James Casey. Right here, watch as he gets out in front and just cuts the defender. That's Russell Allen. Gets him right on the ground. You can't make a tackle when you're rolling around on the ground as a defender. That's a great job out front by Casey.
And good pursuit from the inside by Alu. What a first down for Houston. Schaub checks it down underneath the Forsett. Down to the 12-yard line.
Well, and now you can tell the Texans have turned up the intensity a little bit. They've been mistake-free on this drive, and they have had purpose. They are in and out. Their body language says they are bearing down. The running backs, the receivers, everybody has really turned it up a notch, and this Jacksonville Jaguars team has forced them to do it.
2nd and 4. Foster. Selby made the stop. Close to a first down.
Yeah, Selby had him up high. It looks like Foster either got scratched maybe or pulled down. Selby got up high on this tackle. Watch as Foster cuts right inside of him. He's going to reach out and it looked like, well, they called a face mask for about less than that earlier in the first half. We'll see where he gets him, and hard to see.
They're going to measure. Foster 13 carries for 51 yards, and this will
be short.
Come up about a foot short. Season average near 100 yards for Foster. AFC's leading rusher coming in with 872 yards.
Yeah, the interesting thing though, they played in Chicago last week in a pouring rainstorm. He had 29 carries for 102. And he had 7 carries in the fourth quarter of that game that only yielded 8 yards. But that tells you how committed they are. 29 carries for 102 is not a big day. It's a lot of carries.
Gary Kubiak told us that 102 was one of the best performances that he has seen from Arian Foster. Those were meaningful, tough yards on the road.
That's a commitment to the run game.
3rd and 1 here. Foster hit in the hole by Kozlowski, and let's see where they spot his forward progress.
This is a big spot. They're going to give him fourth down. He did not get it. And the Texans are going to go for the 3 points here. Leslie right in the hole on Foster, makes the tackle, holds him short of the first down. They're not going to give him the spot, and it forces the field goal try. Leslie, who is 125 tackles plus coming in, he gets a lot of chances to do that, and that was an outstanding tackle on an elite running back at a crucial down.
So we'll see Shane Graham on to try a 27-yard field goal, and he's got it. And Texans are 0 for 6 third down conversions, and they trail by 7 near the end of the third. 27-20, Jacksonville here late in the third, trying to pull the upset on the road against their foes in the AFC South, the Houston Texans. Rashad Jennings is back deep, waiting the kick from Shane Graham. From a yard deep. And brought down hard at the 12 by Brian Brayman. A nice special teams play by Brayman. Seven-time Pro Bowler on special teams. What'd you think about that?
That kind of warms my heart, I gotta admit.
I thought it might.
It brings a smile to my face, it does. I'll admit it.
Chad Henne has been spectacular since coming in for Blaine Gabbert. 12 of 16 for 238 yards and 3 touchdowns. Parmalee. Pickup of maybe one. Brady James made the stop. Did coverage of every game on the go with NFL Mobile for $5 a month. Watch live streaming of every touchdown with NFL Red Zone, as well as NFL Network's 24/7 coverage. Call *NFL to download or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. On their feet here in Houston, 2nd and 9. Henne. And that is caught by Blackman, who's had a breakthrough game here against the Texans.
And he looks like a different player with Chad Henne throwing him the football. I don't know what it is, but he's aggressive on watches. He comes out number 14 there, now on the left, breaking to the outside. He attacks the football in the air and is doing that better today than I've seen him in the last month. When that ball's in the air, he gets after it. That's why he was drafted, his aggression and his strength at catching the football, and today he's displaying it.
5 catches for 140 yards for Blackman. First down for Jacksonville. Over left tackle. Good for a couple, Parmalee.
Yeah, this is a play they run a lot with Maurice Jones-Drew, who's not in this game. They bring a guard around to lead him up with a fullback and just explode up through the hole, trying to get some movement with just sheer size and velocity, and the Texans were up to it. That is a hard 2-yard gain with a lot of contact at the end of it.
Nearing the end of the third quarter, Maurice Jones-Drew looking on from the Jacksonville sideline. He could be back next week. Blackman in motion, keep it on the ground. Nice hole left side, but Parmalee, who's brought down hard across the 30 to the 32 by James and Sharpton. So that's the end of the third quarter, and we'll return to Houston after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Jacksonville has been horrible on third down all season, 0 for 9 on third down in the first meeting in week 2. But today, 3 of 7 on third down, 2 of those for touchdowns. Here facing a 3rd and 4 as we start the final quarter here in Houston. Chad Henne at quarterback. Incomplete. over the head of Cecil Shorts, who was well covered.
Cecil Shorts broke his route off. Henne threw it over his head. There was a delayed blitz. Henne had to get rid of it. This is Shorts. Henne throws this down the field over his head.
Well covered there by Jonathan Joseph.
And you see there at the end, coming in, Brady James delayed. And when the back stayed in, he came for the quarterback.
Anger punts it away. This is a tremendous punt. Martin retreats back to the 5. Oh, what a return! Keyshawn Martin. And brought down by Anger, the punter. The rookie saved a touchdown.
Well, Anger was great on both ends of this kick. He kicked this, unfortunately, so well, nobody could catch up to it to cover it. He put Martin all the way down inside his 10-yard line. What a tremendous kick. That back to the 6-yard line. The problem is he kicked it so far that none of the coverage guys could get there to stop Martin from breaking a big one. So Anger does the next best thing and makes the tackle at the end. Great athletic.
Steve, how about Anger going stride for stride with the speedster? A 62-yard punt and a 71-yard return. And here come the Texans. Down by a touchdown. Foster. Right side. He gets the edge and out of bounds inside the 30.
I didn't know you had to run a 40 as a punter. I mean, that was outstanding by Anger. Gave his team at least a chance. That was a touchdown that was going to bring this game to a tie ball game. Anger stops it, and that's all you can ask as a defense is give us a chance, and he did. Both ends of that kick were great by that young player right there. The kick was sensational, and the Houston Texans did a nice job of holding the coverage guys off Martin long enough. But that sets up Houston well, but they still have a little work to do, made possible by Anger.
2nd and 6 for the Texans. They have had a battle today against Jacksonville. Shot. Intercepted. And the lateral, Leslie gets rid of it. Got it to Dewan Landry, and a turnover for the Texans.
That was a bad decision by Schaub.
Threw it behind Owen Daniels. There might have been a little miscommunication, but Jacksonville has the football and the lead. Paul Posluszny with a big play for Jacksonville. And the Jaguars have it after the interception. 1st and 10 from their own 30 with the lead, 27-20. Just under 14 minutes left to play. Parmalee alone in the backfield. Henne will throw on 1st down. It's sacked. And finally, the Texans able to get that pass rush going. J.J. Watt now with 11 and a half sacks on the season.
And this is a jailbreak from right down inside. Working right on the left tackle. Eugene Monroe. And man, that's a big quick hit on the quarterback. And then Henne's going to be thinking about that one.
J.J. Watt, a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year for his play through the first 2/3 of the season. 2nd and 16.
And this is going to be offsides on the Texans as well. Oh, they move.
A false start is the call. And let's check in with JB and Coach Cowher for an update on Cleveland and Dallas.
Dallas narrowing the gap.
Yeah, down 13-0 at the half. Felix Jones takes this over from 2 yards out, and Dallas 10 unanswered in the second half. Into the fourth quarter, still trailing Cleveland 13-10.
13:23 and counting left in regulation. Bill and Steve.
Thank you, guys. The Browns looking for their first win on the road in more than a year. Jacksonville trying to win here in Houston for the first time since 2009. 2nd and 21 after the sack. Almost intercepted by Kareem Jackson on the pass intended for Blackman.
Well, Henne tried to fit it in. It was good coverage by Jackson. As Blackman breaks to the sideline, Jackson undercuts it and just really drops it. That was underthrown by Henne. And Jackson undercut it, got both hands on it, and dunked it off his face mask.
And Henny lucky that wasn't picked off.
When you see a quarterback do that, it's kind of easy to understand why he misses a throw by a foot down the field when he's got guys like that draped on him.
And a timeout before the snap. Henny will head to the sidelines. 3rd and 21. Jacksonville leads it by a touchdown.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Audi. Truth in engineering. K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. And by the Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is here.
On their feet here in Houston. After the timeout, 3rd and 21 for Jacksonville. Henny, lots of time. Caught at midfield by Blackman. Still on his feet, Justin Blackman. Wow!
During the last timeout, we were talking about how conservative we thought the Jacksonville Jaguars might be with a touchdown lead. Their defense playing pretty good against a tough Houston offense, and Jacksonville doesn't bat an eye and goes deep down the middle to their #1 draft pick, and he pulls this in like it's nothing. Wow! Breaks a tackle, and it's off to the races. The rest of the receiving corps jumping in line, helping him out. What an enormous play.
81 yards on 3rd and 21. Scobie on to try the extra point. And Jacksonville extends their lead over the 8-1 Houston Texans. Blackman, 221 yards. Welcome to the National Football League. Justin Blackman came in averaging just under 28 yards a game. Today, 221 on 6 receptions. There were people starting to question his work ethic, whether or not the Jaguars had made a mistake moving up to #5 to take him, the 2-time college receiver of the year at Oklahoma State. But he has announced himself today against the Texans. Martin looking for another good return. The Texans, who are back on their heels, could use it. But he's brought down just short of the 24. And let's take a look at Justin Blackman's day.
And you see there, none of these is, simple catches down around his legs on this one. This one's up high, pitches it. That led to a field goal. This, of course, the touchdown we just saw a moment ago. All those coming from Chad Henne.
Meanwhile, there was a flag on the kick, and it was against Jacksonville.
I guess, and this is something Mike Mularkey's going to have to address this week. And I guess I'll just go on record. If Chad Henne doesn't start at quarterback next week, I think they're crazy. I think the spark he's given them and what he's shown in the pocket and his ability to handle this offense coming off the bench without a week of work and having watched Blaine Gabbert get ready, I think it says a lot about his readiness to lead this offense.
There's Gabbert on the sideline with Henne. He's offsides on Jacksonville, so they're going to re-kick. Chad Henne, of course, 4 seasons in Miami, came in when Blaine Gabbert re-injured his shoulder last week at Jacksonville on their only touchdown drive of the night against Indianapolis. But today he's over 300 yards, 14 of 20 for 331, and now 4 touchdown passes. And I think Mike Mularkey has a quarterback controversy on his hands.
Well, the team was 1-8 coming in, so I don't know how much of a controversy there can be.
Well, re-kick it. Martin retreats and will take a knee 6 yards deep in the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20. Jacksonville's best point production this year by far. Coming in, they had scored 23 points twice, both of those losses in overtime. Now with a 2-touchdown lead with 12:26 left to play in regulation. Mike Malarkey, it's been a tough season for him. Coming over after 4 years in Atlanta. But things have really come together today against the Texans. Matt Shaw will try to bring him back. He'll throw on first down. Underneath, Owen Daniels dropped immediately. Tackle made by Kyle Bosworth after a gain of 7. Bosworth, the nephew of the former NFL linebacker Brian Bosworth. Had 14 tackles when these two teams played in week 2. Game that was dominated in almost every phase by the Texans. Foster, about a yard short of a first down. Mosley made the stop. Well, tomorrow, small town boys meet two broke girls. Catch a new episode tomorrow. Two broke girls only. CBS. So 3rd and 1 for the Texans. Houston looking for their first conversion on 3rd down. 0 for 6 so far. Foster. Forward progress, should get it because Leslie made the stop.
Well, with 12 minutes or 11:19 to go in the 4th quarter, you know they're going to get the football back at least twice more. No reason to go crazy, but you're going to have to do a lot of things right offensively and defensively. They've got to stop the Jaguars. They haven't had an answer for the big play the Jaguars have had all day.
Shaw. James Casey able to elude one tackle and keep his feet, and Russell Allen finally made the stop.
You know, you think about what's at stake here for the Texans. I mean, this is the #1 team in the conference record-wise. They're being chased by Baltimore, who is 1 game behind them. And this is a team, there's no question, that they're thinking much bigger things this season than a division title and a playoff appearance.
Coming off their first appearance in the postseason last year, Matt Schaub had to watch from the bench as they move the chains once again. Garrett Graham with the catch.
You see there Schaub kind of massaging his throwing hand, as you saw on that last little flip out to Casey. He got caught with the defensive lineman. That's quarterbacks injure their hands a lot when they try and follow through and hit it on the head of pass rushers and offensive linemen and the like.
Schaub then has to go underneath. Graham into Jacksonville territory. About 2 yards short of a first down. That was good for 8 yards.
And you see here, this is why Houston is also so good. They come back and they can beat you just throwing the football. They can beat you just running the football. And they can certainly beat you when they can do both with the game plan. Now this, with 2 touchdowns down in the 4th quarter, may take the running game out of it a little bit.
Schaub back to the same spot. Down to the 43-yard line. Again, it's Graham.
Of course,
Garrett Graham, who played with J.J. Watt at Wisconsin.
There's the area they're working, just getting receivers right in between the hashes. As the defenders drop back to defend, they drop out of one area, and this is right where the receiver steps into.
Graham with 5 catches for 57 yards. Shot. A little deeper in the seam. And that's back to Graham, who hangs on to the football.
And that's the flag we thought we might see earlier. But this is a defenseless receiver getting hit up high.
19 yards on the play, and they may tack on a little more.
This is a big-time play by Graham. That is a really, really tough catch at the highest level.
Committee meeting by the officials. Clock stops with 9:03 left to go in regulation.
Right down the middle of the football field. Watch, he catches it up high, and that's an easy call.
Helmet defense against the receivers. At least half the distance to the goal line. Automatic first down.
Landry looked like he tried to turn sideways, but he was just too high. And that was an easy call for the official, and I'll tip my hat to Landry. He did not maliciously go in and try and go helmet to helmet. He did try to hit him with the shoulder and the side of his body, but it was just at the wrong angle. I think that's a lot to ask of a defender, and that's why when the rule came out, they were kind of complaining about it because he tried to do everything right, and it ended up in a penalty anyway.
So they spot it down at the 12. They can get a first down at the 2. Texans trail by 14. Inside of 9 minutes left to go in regulation. Foster left side, dips in, and then inside the 10, pushed out of bounds close to the 9 by Derek Cox.
Yeah, and as we move inside the 8.5-minute mark of the fourth quarter, it becomes more and more imperative for the Texans to do something they haven't been able to do all game long, and that's play mistake-free. Turnovers, fumbles. I think their entire playbook is open right here, runs and passes.
No sense of urgency from Houston. Empty backfield. 2nd and 7. Get a first down at the 2. Andre Johnson. He's going to be about a yard short.
When you get into a tight game in the fourth quarter, the type of play you call becomes irrelevant. It becomes, who do you want to have the football? That's the guy. Andre Johnson and Arian Foster. Nobody else needs to be. If you want to win a game, go to your best players.
So 3rd and a short 1. Foster. And he's going to get the first down, but short of the goal line.
And Gary Kubiak, who's a former quarterback and cut his teeth as an offensive coordinator, backed up John Elway. He knows what it takes to win a championship. And when the chips are on the table and you got to have an ace in your hand to turn over, Arian Foster and Andre Johnson are 2 pretty good aces.
So they spot it just inside the 1. 1st and goal. Very good drive by the Texans, trying to come back from a 14-point deficit. Foster can't get in, denied the end zone by Puzzlesny.
It's going to be 2nd down. But as we saw earlier, you'll watch just a power run game. I mean, right in behind Casey. Now, Jacksonville has to think about this. Houston can fake the run and throw it here in this situation, and they've got to. It really puts a lot of pressure on this Jacksonville defense because Houston won't hesitate.
Now look at Puzzlesny. He has had a great game. Blood on his face. 2nd and goal. Foster. No.
Oh, he dropped the ball. No, they're calling him down. The ball came loose late.
Just short of the goal line once again.
As you see, Selvey ends up with it in the end zone, but
Jacksonville defense just swarming.
oh, that ball is out.
Let's see what they call.
Oh, no. To me, that ball comes loose right there, and he's not. It didn't seem down to me. That's a very close call.
There'll be no challenge and no review. 3rd and goal. Shaw. Touchdown. Garrett Graham all alone. He slipped free.
And that play was set up by those 3 hard runs to begin that series on 1st and goal. 3 hard runs to Arian Foster. They didn't get in. You see what it did to Paul Puzzlesny. Bloodied his face. And because they're so committed to the power runs on the first 3 downs, Graham comes wide open in the back of the end zone as they fake the run on that down.
Schaub with his 3rd touchdown pass of the game. Graham makes it a 7-point game once again with 5:39 left to go in the 4th. Texans are trying to come back against this fierce Jacksonville Jaguars squad.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Get your own tender, juicy Subway steak melt today. And by Volkswagen. It's not the miles, it's how you live them.
Puzzlesny a moment ago, blood streaming from the bridge of his nose, trying to stop the bleeding. on the sideline. That's like the corner in boxing.
Cut me, Mick.
Cut me, Mick. Because Leslie has had a great game and left it all out on the field and maybe a little more. Jacksonville up by 7. Jennings. Brought down hard after a nice return just across the 30. Well, last week Phil Simms questioned whether Eli was an elite quarterback. This week it's Luck versus Brady in the spotlight on NFL Monday QB. That's tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Graham with the touchdown catch, culminating a 14-play drive. Graham had 5 catches, no drive, including the touchdown. Parmalee, who has played well. Brady James made the stop. And once again, let's check in with JB and Coach Cowler for the latest on Cleveland and Dallas.
Dez Bryant.
Yeah, about 2 halves. Second half right here at 17 unanswered points. 28-yard touchdown pass. Dez Bryant, 17-13. Dallas leads. About 6 minutes to go in the fourth.
Career best receiving yards for Bryant, 124. Back to Bill and Steve.
Like Justin Blackmon having a big day. Cowboys trying to get to 5-5 and win back-to-back games for the first time this season. That's up the road in Dallas. Here, the Jaguars are trying to pull the upset. 2nd and 6. Parmalee. Stacked up. Pickup of maybe 1. That'll bring up 3rd down. Glover Quinn made the stop.
Well, there's no question that Jacksonville can't play this conservative. They've got to get this first down. With 4:30 and counting in this fourth quarter, they've got to stay on point. They're going to have to put this in the air on the 3rd and 4. This Houston defense, while they've nicked them in the run game, they're not going to pick up a 3rd and 4 in the fourth quarter of this game by trying to punch it in there with the run game. Henny's going to have to put it up.
Jaguars have been dangerous on 3rd down. Henny from the gun. Steps in. Batted away. Trying to hit Justin Blackmon. Maybe a little behind him.
That went right off Blackman's helmet as he tried to get his hands up. It had too much velocity on it. Henny just a little bit. And that's a rub right there. An illegal pick play that wasn't called. Henny just put too much on this. He could feel the pressure coming behind him. That's what happens when the quarterback starts to feel the pressure, takes a couple of hits. He put too much velocity on that throw.
Blackmon had just turned his head and was unable to pick up the football. Keyshawn Martin calls for the fair catch and makes it at about the 10-yard line. A 53-yard punt by Brian Anger, and 3:52 left to go for Matt Schaub and the Texans.
Now this is the pressure right from behind Henny. Now he can't see it, but he feels it, and he lets this go. He knows he's got to get rid of it, and he puts too much on it for Blackmon to pull it down. Hard to really put a touch pass out of the pocket when a guy's coming down on you.
And that was Antonio Smith coming hard. He's coming off his first Pro Bowl season and playing at that same level again this year. He's a guy who often gets overshadowed by J.J. Watt, but he's been outstanding. So 90 yards to go. Just under 4 minutes to do it for the Houston Texans. They trail 34-27. Schaub on 1st down. Who else? Andre Johnson.
Well, it's like we said a moment ago. You don't think play selection, you think player. And Andre Johnson is a #1 guy. They go 5 wides. They give no indication, no threat of a run in that situation. And they do it again here. They're going all 5 wide.
Empty backfield. Schaub on 1st down. Another completion and another 1st down. This time it's Kevin Walter.
And these chunks of field are making it possible for Houston to get down there, but they've got to get to the point now where if they keep breaking off these chunks of yardage, the clock will cease to be a factor in their play selection or even in the fact that they want to hurry.
Houston with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Daniels into Jacksonville territory, finally wrestled down at the 42 because Leslie made the stop.
Well, there you have it. They're going to continue to go hurry up. They're going to go muddle huddle here. They've got plenty enough time to get down close for a touchdown, but they've got to play mistake-free.
5 receivers in the pattern. Schaub. Walter. Schaub is not really a threat to run with the football, but he sure makes a lot of plays with his feet, and there's a man down. That's the linebacker, Russell Allen.
And something, it looked like he either got something in his eye or... And once again, the Jacksonville Jaguars giving the Texans the middle of the football field to throw if they so desire. Schaub extends the play coming out of the pocket and finds Walter pivoting back up the field.
.221 left in the fourth. Russell Allen, he opened the season as a starter at outside linebacker for the first time in his career. Came in ranked second on the team in tackles with 117. Let's see if we can pick up what happened.
Well, I think he got hit in the solar plexus or something. Looked like Walter's heel came up right on his breastplate. And if that happened, that hurts. That I've experienced that, and that hurts.
Crowd doesn't like it because that sort of slowed the Texans' momentum. They were in a rhythm on offense.
Once again, staying empty.
And Schaub is 12 of 12 since he threw that interception. To the sideline. Johnson steps out of bounds at the 21.
Now they're going to huddle up. Schaub's going to have a chance to look his guys in the eye and talk to him as Cox working against Andre Johnson. You know, when you've got a guy, as we've said over and over, who's caught so many passes for so many yards, you really have to respect everything about him, particularly the big play. So Cox making sure he stays on top of Johnson.
Again, empty backfield. Schaub loads, fires over the middle of the field. Johnson again. Fights his way down close to the 6, Andre Johnson. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning as the Texans have come storming back here at home. Back in Houston, where, as you can see, there's a Jacksonville player, William Middleton, down on the field. The nickelback for Jacksonville. Let's see if we can pick up what happened, Steve.
Well, late in the play, he comes in to clean up on the tackle on Johnson, and he hits his own teammate, defensive teammate. And that, as we said earlier in the game, it happens so often to these guys, as C.J. Mosley coming in to help.
So being helped off the field. Well, Matt Schaub on this drive, 6 of 6 for 84 yards, a drive that started at the Texans' 10-yard line, and they have efficiently marched down the field.
Yeah, you think back to the last time just a few moments ago where they were down here first and goal. There was 7:40 left on the game clock. They ran the football twice, and all of a sudden they lost 2 minutes of game on the clock because of those 2 running plays. So now they're down to the 2-minute warning, back inside there, and ideally you've got some time left.
First and goal for Houston from the 7. Foster. Maybe a yard just inside the 6.
Once again, I think right now, the way they're going, they are kind of going no huddle, but their ability or their desire to run the football, it tells me they want to score a touchdown with no time left on the clock.
Great action for Schaub. There's the other direction. Touchdown. Garrett Graham. And Garrett Graham has been the ace in the hole for the Houston Texans. 8 catches, 82 yards, and that his second touchdown reception of the game.
Well, they've been totally unsuccessful running the football down close against Jacksonville, and that play action once again works to perfection.
Shane Graham on to tie it up. And the Texans come storming right back. 34-34 as Chad Henne gets ready to go back to work.
Shove the play action pass to Foster from the opposite side on the line of scrimmage all the way across. Graham just sneaks out, catches it, and turns into the end zone. Just gets lost in coverage coming all the way across the formation. Schaub, as always, looks one way and throws the other.
I'm not sure how many people thought this game would be tied inside of 2 minutes. We've had some big upsets in the National Football League. Arizona over New England in week 2. Missed 42-yard field goal try late. Kansas City and New Orleans suck up with the 31-yard game-winning field goal in overtime. And Green Bay and Indianapolis in week 5. Reggie Wayne, 4-yard touchdown pass from Andrew Luck with 35 seconds left to beat the Packers. So Chad Henne, who has been outstanding, 14 of 21 for 331 yards and 4 touchdown passes, will have a chance to bring the Jaguars down the field for the win. And they'll take it out to the 20 as Rashad Jennings takes a knee.
Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars have stayed in this game because of the big play and their willingness to call it and go deep on the Houston Texan defense. With a minute 34 and 2 timeouts, they have all the time they need to get into field goal range, but they're going to have to air it out to do it.
Josh Scobie has a career long of 59 yards. Did that a couple of seasons ago against the Colts.
And these will be perfect conditions in which to kick.
Jacksonville with 2 timeouts remaining. Henne, incomplete. Just behind Spurlock, who couldn't bring it in.
Spurlock right there working, trying to get open across the formation. Henne once again puts a little too much on that.
Telling everyone to play. That's what's tough about having your backup quarterback. He doesn't run the 2-minute offense generally. Incomplete. Blackman was the intended receiver. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Once again, Houston's going to bring some pressure. 6 guys rushing the passer. McCain gets in there and gets a hit, and if that ball has got to come out on time. That negates Jacksonville's ability to have Henne drop back and scan the field and throw the big play down the field that they've been so successful at early in this contest. They can't do that if Henne's facing a blitz every shot.
The officials are huddling because the stadium clock may have kept going and they might have to reset the time.
Yeah, they're going to have a huddle about how much time the official time is kept on the field.
We are checking on the accuracy of the game clock.
Well, if the clock says 0-0, it's inaccurate.
It will be 3rd and 10 for Jacksonville. The clock won't necessarily be a factor if they're unable to convert here. Certainly not for Jacksonville. It will be for the Texans, who could come away from this in pretty good field position. Clock showing 1:30 at the moment. Pete Blakeman is our referee today.
The Texans sideline and defensive team trying to get the crowd pumped up, making it as difficult as possible for Jacksonville. Jacksonville going incompletion on their first 2 downs, which stopped the clock, which makes it so the Texans could keep their timeouts intact. Still have 3 timeouts.
Well, that's where the clock, we see it. Now we believe this is accurate at this point, but there was an incomplete pass, and the clock continued to run. So now they're going to sort things through, talk to Gary Kubiak.
1:30 seems a lot.
There's a situation. The game clock in the north end zone is not functioning. However, the game clocks on both the east and the west do function. The correct time is 1 minute and 30 seconds on the game clock, and we'll use those to time the rest of the game.
Clear explanation from Pete Blakeman.
In that case, the clock that we show on the screen could not be accurate. And that's the reason, because we take ours off the north and south end zone.
So a minute and a half left in the fourth. Tie game. 3rd and 10 for Jacksonville. J.J. Watt is ready. And the officials are huddling once again.
Well, there's no question that it's given both clubs a chance to confer on the sidelines about what's going to happen next. So both clubs should have their defensive call and their offensive play selection ready to go. But momentum, I mean, this is really difficult for a player. I mean, you just had 2 great defensive plays for the Houston Texans. Now everything stops. You kind of calm down. You get the crowd into a frenzy. They get tired of cheering and quiet down again.
They set the game clock to 1 minute and 25 seconds. 1 minute, 25 seconds.
So they make an adjustment of 5 seconds. So 1:25 left in the fourth. And here we go. Corner blitz, Henny, underneath, Spurlock, short of a first down. Jonathan Joseph wrapped him up.
Well, this forces Houston to take their timeout, stop the clock, and you've got it. I mean, this is a catch, and you'd think Spurlock's got to find a way to get that first down, either go past the sticks to catch it or not. But now you force Anger to punt, and you can bet he's going to put every little bit of himself into this punt to try and get it all the way out of the end zone.
Keyshawn Martin has had some good returns, but Anger's had some good punts.
One critical thing here is this. The only way that Jacksonville can get burned on this play is if he outkicks his coverage and they give up the big plays. He may kick this along the sidelines.
End over end, relatively short kick. Martin brought down at around the 35. That was a 43-yard punt and a 6-yard return.
Well, now it's a minute 7 with 2 timeouts left for Matt Schaub. They've got to get to the 35-yard line. That is very doable. And Jacksonville has got to be cringing at the fact they couldn't get a first down a moment ago.
Houston 2 timeouts, 1:07 remaining in regulation.
Outstanding field position for Houston in this situation.
Empty backfield. Schaub has been brilliant since the interception. Walks it. caught by Andre Johnson.
We've said it time and again, it's not about play selection in this situation, it's about players. Andre Johnson has carried this offense in the fourth quarter, and Matt Schaub has looked at him almost exclusively in early situations and crucial situations on these drives. He hasn't scored the touchdowns, but he's made the plays that have set him up.
And a huge game for Andre Johnson, who's over 200 yards as they keep it on the ground to Foster. Inside the 30, and the Texans will take a timeout. No question that Andre Johnson is headed to the Hall of Fame. 12 catches today, 214 yards. And Shane Graham is getting ready. Andre Johnson, who
those two guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Andre Johnson, Steve, I started to say, was taken in the second year of the franchise, had a chance to go other places for more money. Felt a loyalty to the franchise, a loyalty to the fans here in Houston. He's a soft-spoken guy who works awfully hard on the field, and he wanted to stay and see this thing through.
Yeah, and what that says about Andre Johnson is about he's a rare individual, a rare athlete, and a rare human being. And I think the fans here in Houston appreciate him greatly for those attributes.
16 straight completions for Schaub. Johnson, a career high, 214 yards. Again, on the ground. Foster down inside the 25 to the 24. DeJuan Landry finally brought him down.
And as we said, as you look at Andre Johnson, and you just witnessed Arian Foster carry the football once again, those are the guys this team leans on no matter what. When it comes down to crucial moments in the game, those guys have their hands on the football.
And they will stop the clock with 5 seconds remaining in regulation. Put it on the leg of this man, Shane Graham. Houston trying to keep that position for the next month and a half. Trying to move their record to 9-1. They'd love to have home field advantage throughout the postseason.
And as all of us try to be clairvoyant when we talk about the NFL, Houston, think about the championship game. If it came to the top teams in the conference, would the Texans rather play inside this building, or do you want to go to Baltimore, Maryland, and walk into that building and play the Ravens in that field? That's what's at stake in every game as we close out this season, the second half.
From 42 yards out. And we may have had movement before the snap. We had a whistle, so that kick will not count.
And if that's a penalty, they're going to try and decipher who this is on. This is critical.
False start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Yeah, and the reason you heard it, it's a good thing the clock was stopped. If they've been in a hurry-up mode right down inside, somebody's going to just twitch a little bit. You'll see them move their hand. There, you see that? That was the long snapper and the guard right there.
That was Antoine Caldwell. So now it's a 47-yard field goal try to break the tie.
He missed it.
Didn't have a chance, a knuckler. And we are going to go to overtime.
That was not even close. He shanked that one, hooked it, knuckleballed it. It didn't look like anybody touched it. It looked like it came off poorly. I think he just mishit it badly.
And you wonder how much that 5 extra yards had to do with the psyche of Shane Graham and trying to put a little bit extra behind the football.
He missed the net. As they called the illegal procedure penalty a moment before, they went ahead and went through the operation. He hit that 37-yarder like it was nothing.
Only his 3rd missed field goal of the season, one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history. So let's take a look at the overtime rules. One 15-minute quarter. If the score is tied after each team's first possession, the next score will win. 2 timeouts per team. Booth reviews only. No challenges. A TD or a safety on the first possession wins the game.
Football here. Overtime situation. We're going to play up to one 15-minute period of time. You're both going to have an opportunity to possess the ball, except if the first team on offense scores a touchdown, then the game's over. Or if we have a defensive safety, the game will be over. You're each going to have 2 timeouts, and all replays will be initiated upstairs. Okay? Good? Good? Okay. Again, good point. Head is the helmet. The T is for tails. Head is the helmet. T is for tails. Jacksonville, it's your call. Heads is the call. It is tails. Houston wins. You want the ball. Which way you want to kick? You want to kick that way. Kick that way. Okay. Houston wins the toss, so we'll receive. Good luck, gentlemen.
So the Texans will have the football to start the overtime period. And after the missed field goal try by Shane Graham, we end regulation tied at 34. Here in Houston, Jacksonville trying to win for the first time here at Reliance Stadium since 2009. Texans will have the football to start overtime. A lot of terrific storylines in this game. Tough physical contest, lots of offense. And we end the fourth quarter tied at 34. Chad Henne came on early for Blaine Gabbert, 15 of 24 for 339 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the rookie Blackman, 6 receptions for 221 yards. Martin thinks about it, takes a knee. So they'll bring it out to the 20, and that's where the Texans will go, trying to move their record to 9-1, 1st and 10.
The interesting thing, you talk about how this game ended, and it was with Houston going 5 wide, empty backfield down the football field. Had great success doing it. Do they go back to with a running back, threaten Jacksonville with the running game, or do they stick with what's been working lately, and they're going to leave Arian Foster in the backfield and threaten them with the running game and go 3 wides?
The Texans with 32 first downs in regulation. Shaw. Johnson with a nice little move and out across the 30 to the 31. That'll be a first down. Continuing to add to his total.
You see the pressure, and this is one of the reasons why Houston Texans and their fans are so excited about this season. When things get rough, they've got dependable, proven players they can put the ball in the hands of and expect results.
17 straight completions for Schaub, and the streak is broken as he tried to go underneath to Graham and incomplete. But Matt Schaub for the day, 35 of 44 for 423 yards.
Once again, play action with a bootleg out away from the pursuit. Gives him plenty of time to throw that football.
Take a look at the 2 receivers. Justin Blackman, a breakthrough game. The rookie out of Oklahoma State. Andre Johnson doing once again what we've seen him do so often. These 2 teams have combined for over 900 yards of offense. Schaub on 2nd down. Foster dives forward, close to a first down, but looks like he's about a yard short.
Yeah, once again, Schaub just dumping the football right into the middle of the defensive formation. They're such a threat to go deep, and neither team wants to get beaten by the big play, so I think they're retreating just with a little bit of extra haste, and it's leaving the middle of that defense vulnerable, and Schaub's taking advantage of it.
3rd and 1. First possession in the overtime period.
Oh, wow, he got it.
Somehow able to keep his feet and gets the first down by about a yard.
Once again, he's one of those proven veteran players. You put the ball in his hands, and you get results. Foster and Johnson, the 2 guys of this offense, when this game has gotten tight, when it's gotten down to the end, and now in overtime, those 2 guys really are the only 2 guys that looks like they're willing to throw the football to.
Foster 25 carries for 62 yards. Schaub, short drop. Underneath to midfield. Owen Daniels, who missed last week with a back injury.
Once again, the vulnerable middle of the defense being exposed, and Shaw perfectly willing to find his dependable tight end right in the middle.
6 catches for Daniels, 57 yards. 2nd and 1. Spotted right at midfield. Foster. A nice gain and a first down. Close to the 43. Derek Cox finally brought him down.
And it seems to me Jacksonville has decided their safeties are going to stay back and make sure that they don't give up the big play. Not quite as quick to come up and get into the running game as they were early on, and that's why Arian Foster able to slice up between the cornerback and the wide receiver and the linebackers and tight ends, get up in there, get the first down. The safeties are staying back to protect against the big play.
Touchdown wins the game, a field goal, and the Jaguars will get a chance. Foster again. Derek Cox once again on the stop after a pickup of 3.
Now Foster's going to have a chance to get a breather. Forsett will come in, and you can bet Foster's going to take maybe 1-2 plays off and he get right back in there.
Foster now 27 carries, 71 yards. Forsett has had a nice day, only 6 carries, but 58 yards.
It'll be interesting to see if they call Forsett's number. He's fresh and rested.
Offset I, 2nd and 7. Shot, 3-step drop. Walter, that'll move the chains inside the 30, down close to the 28, a gain of 12.
Once again, starting inside, going to a wide stem on his route, and then breaking back inside, creating the space with his route, and then breaking back, giving Schaub a really good target.
Kyle Bosworth made the stop after he was tripped up by Aaron Ross.
Look how far the safeties are back. They're bailing out, making sure the Jaguars don't give up the big pass play down the field, but they're giving them the short yardage and letting them march.
Schaub over 450 yards. Foster accelerates down to the 22. Again, Cox with the stop.
Once again, we talked about this earlier in the game. This running game of the Texans, they're so committed to it. They do it so well. It's so versatile that even in the 4th quarter and overtime, you really have to jump on. You almost have to sell out to stop it.
So Foster goes to the sidelines. Justin Forsett goes back in. I formation. Toss it back to him. Left side. Hit hard. Just short of the 20-yard line by Brzezinski, the free safety.
Now that we're in overtime, it's interesting to think about. You know, this game obviously has gone into extra time. The Jaguars have faced up before that play 83 offensive plays by Houston. They are getting tired, and it's starting to show here in overtime. And believe me, we've seen an outstanding effort by Jacksonville in all aspects of their game. But now it seems as though they've left it all on the field. They've got nothing left for this extra period. They're really starting to show signs of fatigue.
And Schaub strolls over and takes a timeout with 9:10 left to go in overtime. It's been a game of big plays so far. Off the first drive, the touchdown pass to Keyshawn Martin. And then Gabbert went down after that big hit. So Chad Henne stepped in and he was spectacular. Big play to Cecil Shorts. That resulted in a touchdown. And then to the rookie Blackman, able to keep his feet. He scored. Texans keeping up. Graham with his first touchdown catch of the day. Then the missed field goal try by Shane Graham. And now we're in overtime. Very balanced on this drive. 5 rushes, 5 passes, 59 yards. Facing 3rd and 2. Shot to the end zone. The receiver fell down, looking for a flag.
He did. He got pulled down and the flag came in. There was no question. And it was a good job by Aaron Ross. Not good that he got smoked on the outside, but it was a smart play to pull Keyshawn Martin to the ground and not let him get loose. That was a touchdown for the Houston Texans, and Ross did the right thing, a veteran thing. He'd gotten beat, but he wasn't going to lose the game.
Aaron Ross, in his 6th year out of the University of Texas, came over from the Giants.
Pass interference, defense, number 31. The ball he placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Let's take another look.
Watch as Keyshawn Martin is going to run this route. Ross knows it, grabs him by the face, man, just pulls him down. I mean, he weren't going to get beat. He knew he was had. He just didn't want to cost the game on that play.
So remember, a touchdown ends it. A field goal, and Jacksonville will get a chance. Foster, the deep back. Walter in motion. Shot. Lost it. Just out of the reach of Owen Daniels, who tried to adjust to the football, but couldn't bring it in.
Such a tough route to complete because, as you saw, Schaub has got to release it very, very early. When the ball's in the air before Daniels actually establishes an angle. So Schaub kind of picks where he thinks Daniels is going to come out. Daniels comes out a little different, can't make the adjustment.
So that'll bring up 2nd and goal. Texans would like to end it right here. First possession of the overtime period, but a touchdown will win it. Pump fake. Goes to the other side to Foster, trying to get him in space. And the Jaguars were ready, brought down at the 7 by Bosworth. That'll bring up 3rd and goal.
As Andre Johnson on the quick slant. What you can't see is the safety right there as the camera pans back across. The safety was there waiting on him, which is why he stopped and didn't go back and continue inside. But there, you can bet the attention of this Jaguar defense is firmly focused on number 80 and number 23.
And they'll go empty backfield. 5 receivers in the pattern. Shaw guns it. Andre Johnson, the intended receiver, and Derek Cox made a great play.
He certainly did. Deliberate back shoulder throw. Watches Cox is following, gets his eyes around, turns towards him, and gets his hand in right where it needed to be to break that up. That's well defended by Cox, who took the bad penalty when he didn't want to give up the touchdown. It ends up he gives his team a chance to stay alive and force the field goal opportunity.
So Graham on to try the 25-yard field goal. And he gets that one. So that means Jacksonville will get an opportunity. 8:10 left in the overtime period. Both quarterbacks have been brilliant today.
One of the aspects that has come about with these new overtime rules is now that Jacksonville gets the football, they're in total 4-down territory. They're never gonna punt this football away. And it gives them a distinct advantage knowing that on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down to know that they're going to have a 4th down to continue to try and advance the football. Conversely, the Houston Texan defense doesn't get a chance to make them punt. They're going to have to defend every down to the bitter end to get this offense off the field. That's why there was a big debate when they put these rules into effect that some teams maybe they would say, okay, we'll let you have the football first. But in actuality, it hasn't turned out that way. Most coaches want their hands on the football.
Jacksonville defense able to stiffen when they had to. First time in NFL history with having 2 players with 200-yard receiving games. Justin Blackmon and Andre Johnson. Blackmon 6 catches, 221. Johnson a career high, 225 yards receiving on 13 catches.
I have to say that's kind of neat. When you think about this statistic, since the start of the 4th quarter, The Houston Texans have run 40 offensive plays. Jacksonville, 10.
That's why the Texans were able to come back. And now they put up 3 in the overtime period, and Jacksonville will get the ball. Jennings from the 3. Jennings, nice return across the 30. Chad Henne, 339 yards today and 4 touchdowns. Jacksonville's only win this season came in week 3 at Indianapolis. They were trailing late in the 4th, and Blaine Gabbert found Cecil Shorts, who was able to bring it in. He takes it 80 yards for a touchdown, and Jacksonville came away with the victory. They'll need a field goal to extend the overtime. A touchdown will win it. Just over 8 minutes remaining in the overtime period. Henne off the play action. Steps up. And runs out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Scrambles for 4.
And the Texans bringing a 5-man rush. Henne feels it immediately, steps up, has nobody over there available. He knows he's going to run it right away, has got to get what he can get.
He didn't slide down, he lowered the shoulder. So 2nd and 6 for Jacksonville, trying to answer the Texans' field goal. Henne with time, gets rid of it. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Mercedes Lewis.
And there's a flag in the backfield.
Back at the 27-yard line.
Against the quarterback defense, number 94. It's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And they'll call that on Antonio Smith.
He hit the quarterback. Oh yeah,
hands to the face.
Hands to the face. Came up across the face mask. And you can't do that.
And that will be a costly penalty. It'll move the ball into Houston territory.
It kind of negates the bad drop by Mercedes Lewis. He got to catch that.
They'll spot it at the Texan 49-yard line. Parmalee is the deep back. They'll give it to him on first down. No running room. Fights to get back to the line of scrimmage. Brady James led the charge.
And this is interesting because as much as we've spoken about the Texan offense finding players, not plays, the same holds true for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Although their best player, Maurice Jones-Drew, is not in this game. Their backup quarterback is taking the snaps, but they've got a guy that has over 200 yards receiving in Blackman. I think that's the guy you try and find.
2nd and 10. Henne batted away.
The pressure comes right away as Henne has to get rid of it. James comes right up the center. Nobody steps down to block him. They're bringing one extra guy that they can block, and that's why he has to get rid of it.
Connor Barwin got a hand on the football, so it'll be 3rd and 10.
And like I mentioned a moment ago, they still have 2 downs. They're not going to punt it.
They need a field goal to extend the overtime period. Henne batted away again and almost intercepted. That'll bring up 4th down. Take another look.
And the Texans, although the Texans have not invented batting passes down, it seems as though they're the team in the NFL that's perfected it. And here in overtime, with the pressure they bring, it's just one added obstacle that Jacksonville has got to overcome on this last opportunity to extend play.
And that was Antonio Smith who got a hand on it. And So we've got a timeout on the field. It'll be 4th down for Jacksonville. They have fought hard, unable to hold a 2-touchdown lead as the Texans were able to come storming back. The last time a 1-8 team or worse beat an 8-1 team or better was back in 1986. Chargers beat the Broncos 9-3. Remember earlier, the Jags turned a 3rd and 21 into an 81-yard touchdown pass. Now it's 4th and 10. They have to get it close to the 38 for a first down. That's caught, and a first down. How about Blackman with another big catch? 15 yards to Justin Blackman.
Well, it seems that the philosophy holds true. If you've got a guy you can depend on, that's who gets the ball in the clutch. And Blackman extends his game of over 200 yards to 200 yards plus. I mean, what a great catch at a critical, absolute game-changing moment.
And the Jaguars able to keep it alive. 1st and 10 from the Houston 34. Parmalee, lots of running room down inside the 10. Jalen Parmalee with a big play, finally brought down by Kareem Jackson. 28 yards on the run.
They bring the extra offensive lineman. The left tackle is now over on the left. The right tackle's all the way over here on the right side, left side. They put the extra offensive lineman to the wrong side of the football, and it catches the Texans off guard. The player lined up at the right tackle was actually a tight end, and the Texans got caught.
So 1st and goal from the 6. Blackman in motion. Not that time. Parmalee runs into J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt just slices in between the tackle guard gap, and before he can step down and make the block, Guy Wimper can't get there in time to cut Watt off. And he's past him. Wow, what an explosive move inside by J.J. Watt.
Touchdown ends it. A field goal, and we go on. 2nd and goal from the 10. Empty backfield for Jacksonville.
Timeout, Houston.
And the Texans are going to take a timeout.
Houston takes their 2nd timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Letting the guys on defense catch their breath for a moment. And what a game this has been here in Houston. Texans lead it in overtime, 37-34. But the Jaguars are threatening.
Wade Phillips needing a timeout. They were just a little bit unsure as to the alignment and personnel on the field for Jacksonville, so they take the quick timeout to make sure they've got it ironed out as to who has who. The crucial thing for a defense here is no question the offense is going to line up, but the problem is this: if they go in motion or shift, they have a check package, and if somebody doesn't get that check, they leave a guy running free. And if they don't have the right personnel combination in the first place, they have no chance. They had to take the timeout to make sure. And now they've got confusion on Jacksonville's side in the backfield.
And that's Spurlock, who's a little uncertain. They snap it anyway.
Oh, they took a timeout.
Well, let's see if they got it called in time.
Yeah, Mike Mularkey ran down to get a timeout. There was total confusion by Henne in the backfield, trying to get the running back lined up.
Takes their 2nd timeout. That'll be their final timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
So both teams out of timeouts now in the overtime.
Yeah, that was interesting. Up here is Mike Mularkey taking the timeout. And as confused as Houston was before the offensive snap a moment ago and took the timeout, that's how confused Jacksonville was when they saw Houston's defensive alignment, and they didn't want to change the play like that. Henne trying to get it done quick and couldn't because of the noise.
So they'll reset on 2nd and goal. And movement before the snap, and everybody a little jittery.
False start, offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That was Eugene Monroe, who has played an outstanding game against this tough Houston Texan front.
Yeah, Mike Mularkey singled him out as a guy who's really played well during this really rough stretch for everybody on the team. Right here, watch as he's just going to move. That's all it takes right there. He started too quickly. There's Blackman.
From the 15, second and goal. Batted away again. J.J. Watt. The Texan defense has really come to life.
In the last few sets of downs, Jacksonville hasn't been able to throw the football on first and second down. Both have been batted down.
That was Antonio Smith who got a hand on it. Third and goal. 3 of Henne's touchdown passes have come on third down. Empty backfield. Slant behind Shorts. Incomplete.
That's going to lead to the field goal to extend overtime.
Watt says no, no, no.
Once again, Henne just behind. That was tipped by Watt as well. It wasn't behind the receiver. Watt yet got another piece of it. Wow. Unbelievable job by those defensive linemen of Houston.
So to extend the overtime period, here comes Scobie from 33 yards out. And on we go. Scobie under pressure. Converts the field goal. We're tied at 37. 4:21 left in the overtime period.
And both teams have used both timeouts. They have no reason or no way to stop the clock unless they do it by spiking it.
Chad Henne, who has done a marvelous job, and so has Matt Schaub, who's thrown 50 times for 455 yards. 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. Been a spectacular day of offense. Teams over 1,000 yards, Steve, combined. For Houston, 568. For Jacksonville, 458.
Yeah, coming into today, the Houston Texans had run the ball 315 times this season, only thrown it 280. It's a little bit of a flip-flop today in that statistic.
And don't forget, coming up next, Andrew Luck and the surprising Colts going for their 5th straight win. They tackled Tom Brady and the Pats, or Phillip Rivers and the Chargers challenge Peyton and the Broncos. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Patriots game is 7-7 as we're in overtime here in Houston. Keyshawn Martin standing 3 yards deep. San Diego, by the way, to give you another update, they lead 7-0. Scobie boots it. Martin, and he'll take a knee 6 yards deep. He'll bring it out to the 20. Take a look at that offense today.
That's a lot of plays. That is a lot of plays. 148 plays. Jacksonville giving the Houston defense, which is a very, very good defense, all they could handle today. And I think surprising a lot of people, no question, everybody in this building.
So the next score wins. And remember, when these two teams met in week 2, Jacksonville set a franchise record for total yards with 117. Schaub. That's caught over the middle by Walter.
Yeah, and you think about now how the strategy has changed for Houston. They have 4 downs, they'll never punt, and all they need is a field goal to win, not to extend it. If any team scores in any fashion, they win the game from this point out.
8 yards on first down. 2nd and 2 for the Texans. Schaub to the sideline. The star Gene, his second year out of Florida Atlantic, with his third catch of the season.
Now with 3:44 left, they're in 4-down territory. Now they can choose to punt it and have their defense come back out. They're not forced to take that 4th down, but they certainly have that option, particularly with 3:44, knowing they've got no more game after that. If it reaches double zeros on the clock now, this game will end in a tie.
3:44 left in overtime. Schaub. Intercepted. Derek Cox. What a play. Andre Johnson was the intended receiver, and Cox just stepped in front of him and picked it off.
And Andre Johnson thinks he was interfered with. That ball was underthrown, in my opinion. Johnson got loose, but Schaub, as he drops back, he feels the pressure, has to get rid of it. Can't step into it as much as you'd think he'd like to. But watch this. As Johnson gets loose, that ball needs to be high and outside. It was inside and a little short, and Cox got his hands on it. Cox, who don't forget. Yeah, you see how he threw that off his back foot, moving away from his target. That's just not done for a quarterback. That's why that ball was underthrown.
Third interception of the season for Cox, and that was a big one. Jaguars are back in business in Houston territory. Henny, incomplete. Cecil Shorts was just turning around when the ball sailed by him.
Now that's a backup quarterback working with a receiver. He's as good as Henny has been thus far in the game. There's still been moments when you can tell he has not had very many reps. But this is a moment when the Jacksonville Jaguars can, in the midst of a very rough season, make themselves feel really good about coming in and beating this football team if they can get it done.
Career long for Scobie, 59 yards. His long this year, 50. Parmalee back to the line of scrimmage.
I think those are conservative play calls. I don't think this run defense has shown a vulnerability in the second half that it did early in the game. I think you've got to air it out. Put the ball in Chad Henne's hands, spread the football field out, and do exactly what the Texans have been doing to you. You know you've got to get rid of the football quickly, so call quick release patterns, small short throws that gets the ball out quickly so they can't bat it down and you don't take a sack.
Henny has come off the bench and thrown for 354 yards and 4 touchdowns. 3rd and 10. Henny. Incomplete. LaRon Robinson, who's had a quiet day, tried to go up and get it, and he was well covered by Alan Ball.
Well, Ball's going to do a great job. A double move. Watch as it goes up, and he comes down. Yeah, it was a great catch. It looked like it was going to be a great catch by Robinson. But on 4th down, they're staying on the football field. If they're going to do it, I got to throw for the 1st down.
They got to get it down to the 37-yard line of the Texans for a 1st down.
They're playing to win, not to tie. They are definitely going for the win.
Henny with time. Incomplete. Went through a lot of hands before it hit the turf. And the ball will go over on downs with 2.5 minutes remaining in overtime.
Trying to hit Blackman, and there's just too many defenders between him and the football. You see there, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one goes right through his hands, right through the hands of Manning, right to the turf.
Danielle Manning, who had a big game last week against his former teammates in Chicago.
You're looking at about 23 yards to get in comfortable field position for a field goal if you're Houston.
So 1st and 10 for the Texans. 2.5 minutes left to go in overtime. Schaub. That's caught by Walter. Dropped immediately into Jacksonville territory to the 48, a pickup of 5.
They'll go no huddle. Once again, neither team with a timeout left here in this overtime. Texans, a field goal or a score of any kind wins it.
Double screen to Johnson. Andre Johnson!
as we said all through the fourth quarter, you don't think play selection, you don't think run or pass, you think player. Andre Johnson, the veteran receiver that has been a part of this team for his entire career, has stuck around through thick and thin. When the chips were down in the fourth quarter, in overtime, when the game has been on the line, time and again they have looked for him, and he has come through once again.
48 yards on the game-winning touchdown pass from Schaub to Johnson. Schaub ends up with 527 yards and 5 touchdowns. Andre Johnson, 14 catches for a career-high 273 yards. The Colts visit New England, or San Diego takes on Denver. Game 2 of our doubleheader is coming up. For Steve Tasker, Bill McAtee saying so long from Houston. A remarkable game. The Texans win it in overtime. You've been watching the NFL.